We are live. All right. Hey, everybody. It is April the 9th. I got Naman. I got Arnold, Soldier, in here. Oliver couldn't make it today. He had prior engagements. But yeah, we're here. It's Wednesday. Hi, everybody. Right? We're trying to figure out how do we stream it to Naman's channel eventually. But So yeah, we're just getting together. We're just gonna draw for a bit and talk about. Arnold did a bunch of conventions on the weekend last week that I missed out on. Stratford, I saw images. It looked fantastic. Looked like you guys had a great time and stuff.
Yeah. It was last weekend. Well, there was one in last weekend. No, I wasn't in Stratford.
Was it in Stratford?
No, well, I wasn't in Stratford, but Stratford, Pop Culture Stratford was
Oh,
on
right,
last.
right, right. You were
Yeah.
in Sarnia, right? Or no?
So last weekend I was in Niagara Falls.
Oh, right.
There
Cool.
was
Was it
comics. It's a brand new one, Comics and Game Expo, something like that.
Oh, that was that by Kauai. Was that the Kauai guy? I forget his name.
Quiet Guy.
Yeah, it starts with a K. Was that the show?
Oh, that one. Yeah. It yeah, it's
St.
called
Catherine, right?
Comics Expo.
Oh, okay.
Um, Well, if you think quiet, he hit the nail on the head because, to be honest, when I met the organizer in person, yeah, he was fairly quiet in his little corner there at the show.
He's a good guy. I met him before. I talked to him before. He always asked me to go to his shows, but it's St. Catherine, right? So it's a little far from
it's
him.
in St. Catherine.
Yeah,
I'm forgetting his name because again, I just met him. I didn't really interact with him as much, even during like um email. But yeah, so it was okay for first time. I mean, like, if I have to be bluntly honest about the show, like, well, it's first time, so I don't want to judge it too much because
yeah.
I
The
feel
first
like
time show is always the tough.
they're just learning, right?
Yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah.
just learning the ropes. So, to be honest, there were some foot traffic. There was some foot traffic, but n- yeah, again, I can't really say, oh,
Yeah.
he didn't bring it in, but I think he just needed to kind of like promote. I feel like he needed to promote the show a little bit more. Um, I didn't see as much on social media, so that's what
Right.
I was kind of think. Another thing is that like even at the show, like the location, it was held at a one of those like community center.
Yep.
It was held on the second floor,
Oh,
and
second
you have to
floor is
take an
always the tough
elevator
part.
to go up to the second floor.
Yeah.
So I'm going, ooh, that's one challenge of hoping that there's some sort of direction to let people know that things are happening upstairs. Which unfortunately, I only saw like little like 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper being posted like at certain spot that I'm going like it's the promotional poster or whatnot like or wasn't
Yep.
that big, so I'm going like, ooh, anybody actually gonna see that? Like, you know? So it was all this like logistic that I thought like, yeah, he's still learning.
Yeah. That's not. I mean,
So
and anytime there was, I think when we did the pop culture stuff in Bolton, it was on the second floor. Anytime you do a con, hey Christina, hey Bleeker, every time we do
Hey
any kind
guys,
of events, they anything with the second floor is always the toughest to do because getting people up to the second floor is rough, right?
right.
So that is the only thing. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I mentioned the Bleeker. I was kind of like, I don't know if he can get rid of his ticket or not, but um, I'm supposed to meet up with Bleecker at Niagara Falls, and I forgot that I have a vendor table and a vendor pass, and usually I can get them in early. So if you want to jump in early, Bleecker, just letting you know, okay? just hit me up before the day of the show, or something. We'll meet out in the parking lot. I'll give you my vendor pass, one of my vendor pass, and you can come in early, right? So if you want to scope out any tables or any of the stuff, so buddy, right? Yeah, I forgot that we have two passes, right, all the time
Mm.
for the show, right? For Niagara Falls, Arnold.
Right, right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I forgot about that. That's why I was asking at first. It's like, wait, don't we get two pass?
Yeah. Well, I feel like that's the general thing for organizer to provide, right?
Yeah,
Two passes for, because like they know that it's for you and potentially it could be for your helper.
yeah. I forgot all about that. It's been a while since I did like a big show, right? So that's really what that was.
Yeah.
So yeah, like going back to the the first time there, I think he's still learning. I think he's still trying to get his footing with the
Right.
con. I think he had Oliver on last year. I think he ran last year. I think he ran a show last year, right?
Who?
So, quiet guy. I think
Why guy?
collectibles. I don't know that the guy that was running that show that you were at in
Oh,
Niagara Falls,
hang on. Yeah, I want to try to see if I can find his name,
or
but
maybe I'm thinking somebody else.
possibly. But so while I'm looking, Naman, do you do any convention yourself or?
No, I do fake conventions. Uh, uh, no, I don't. Sorry, I'm not. I'm not a pro. I'm an
No,
amateur.
I didn't catch.
I'm just amateur.
I didn't catch that. I think your microphone was breaking at one point. I don't know if it was
Yeah,
just
I'm just
me,
an
but
amateur. I'm not a pro.
oh, oh really? Like, oh okay. I thought I'm not a pro either. Like I'm although I've been doing it, like I don't consider myself a pro. I just do it for the sake of like, hey, I can do it. you
Uh-huh.
know.
Yeah,
Um.
Arnold's been doing this for a while. He's we do these cons and stuff like that too. I mean, I don't know if I'm considered a pro either, but I do enough. We do enough to get in trouble,
Right.
right?
Well, this is why my tagline. It's funny you hit on that because this is why my tagline is amateur artist, professional pencil pusher, right? So
Yeah, that's right.
I kind of like give myself that, I guess, tagline there. So I still consider myself an amateur. Considering we're surrounded by pro artists, so I go, why not like I don't know, why not like just roll with the blow? So,
Yeah, I'm.
uh, his,
I'm. I'm. I'm happy that I'm an amateur. I'm glad that I don't have to be worrying about income as with my art.
right.
Because if I had to worry about income with my art, I'd be very stressed out.
No, I hear you. I think that's the conversation I've had with a few people as far as where I stand. Um, and I don't know if you kind of relate to it, Lock, where this is not my full time job. I actually have another full time job, so it's like when
Yeah,
I do the shows, I don't like. I'm just
yeah,
happy, like, well, not happy, but like whether I make money or not, I know that I'll I'm still gonna get paid in 2 weeks or whatever week that falls on,
right.
right?
Yeah,
So, but obviously, it's always nice to actually make extra money at the show,
right.
So that's why, especially during COVID, I was very like I was very sympathizing a lot of my artist friends who relies on comic convention to make money, right? Because like during COVID, a lot of the shows was non-existent, right? So,
Yeah,
uh, hmm,
I mean, I was looking forward to retirement. Then I realized, you know what? Work is good. I Work is good. I provide for the family. I'm gonna, you know, I think I'll keep on working. I won't mind if I just, when my doing my work, I croak because,
oh yeah,
yeah, because I decided that I'm not gonna hate my work. You know, you know, it doesn't do me any good to hate work and say, "Oh, I want to be artist." I decided that I'm gonna just enjoy the work and then be able to keep the art as a hobby.
right, right,
And as long as I can work, I work. Right now I just don't trust the economy for me to not work.
right, yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you. What about you, Locke? Like, yeah, what I was saying. Don't Didn't you feel the same way as far as like this is you're not working, you're not a full time artist, but like at that time, I think you when you were working at the post office, right? Like,
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm still doing that, but I'm on disability right now, right? So that's one thing. I'd love to do this full time, more gigs, right? But the problem is the comic book industry pays absolutely nothing, and we all know that, right? We know the page rate. Marvel artists, seasoned artists, are telling Marvel to f off, and you know because Marvel has like Disney has this tendency to they're very corporate, right? So anything you do is all corporate base. So you're gonna end up with um, you know
Hey, we have
a lot of
a
the gigs.
K-pop, K-pop, K-pop sign.
A a lot of the gigs themselves are this is what we pay, take it or leave it, because we know that we can go down the street and find somebody desperate enough to, right? And that's usually what happens. That's usually the case of anything that we kind of tend to deal with part of the
right,
industry, right? But again, it's like I take what I can in certain situations, and I know my line in certain areas too, right? Like if I was in LA and in California, yes, I was doing art on a full-time basis, but I was doing storyboards and film productions and you know that kind of stuff. So that was enough to pay the bills, but I was working like crazy, right? But I was single at the time. I don't have, you know, it was just myself,
right,
right? So that was a different environment. Now I got like mortgages, car payments, and stuff, right? It becomes a different beast like that. So anything I do is based on, okay, well, it's just not me because I don't, I'm late on payments. Uh, Back then, worst case scenario is I get kicked out of my apartment. You know what I mean? Like I'll
yeah,
sleep in the car and I'm okay. But here, you know, house foreclosure, the whole family's out in the street, and that's a whole different thing, right? I got a
right,
kid in it, so it's a different responsibility. So that like Nauman's the same way, right? So he's got people that needs to rely on, and that's really what the mentality is when it comes to working full time and stuff, right? Like
right,
Oliver had like, I mean, he's got a couple clients and a couple gigs that pay very well, but again, he's drawing 24/7 kind of thing too, right?
right,
You've seen his stuff. Um, he's always constantly drawing, and
right,
yeah,
right,
I mean, things like that becomes like I wish it was in different. Um, I wish the industry itself was a little bit different, where art isn't one of those things where, the terminology, starving artists and all that stuff, right?
Right.
I wishing that wasn't real kind of thing, because art is always like, yeah, well, these are artists, they sit around, they drink coffee, that I wear the beanie or whatever they call it, the the French beret.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah, I hear ya.
it's part of the it's part of the lure. But then we got somebody like, Art Victim. He's sleeping in his car or something like that for now, and he's she is, sorry, um or anybody like that who's trying to, single and then trying to look for places and moving around and trying to create their crafts, and things like that happens all the time, right? I mean, I got I'm a little more like, I have backup plans. Right? That's really what this is. Right.
Right.
I love doing the cons. The con is my little get together. I get to meet creators. I get to meet artists. I meet to get the writers. I meet, that kind of stuff. Right. Um, I would love to retire right now and do this full time, because I think I can. I can get away with it. Right. It's just
Right.
that I have to really hustle like I did when I was younger, but I don't know if I can hustle, when you're 25, 26, and you move out to LA, you're by yourself, and you kind of, you live with the t-shirt off your back, you got your car, you know what I mean? Like, that's right? You're on your own. You kind
Right.
of, right? And that's, I don't know. I mean, that's the thing, right? If there was options for other stuff, yeah. I was constantly working when I was in LA, right? I was working on film projects and other things. But here in Canada, yeah, working in film is at 54 years old is a little tougher, unless I'm a director or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's it. I mean, that's I don't know where I'm getting at here at this story here, guys.
No, it's, no, it's all about where you are now, right? And what you're,
Yeah,
I guess, what's available for you, right? At a certain age. But yeah, and then I think we covered this. I don't know if we covered this the last conversation, but just trying to get a job. Let's say, for example, even in the comic industry, um, it is going to be a lot more challenging. I'm not even saying little. It's going to be a lot more challenging because before, back then, you're only competing with your fellow North American
yeah,
artists, right?
yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
obviously, people are mailing their stuff, physically mailing their artwork, and it's probably a lot more cheaper than mailing it from across the world.
Yep.
But now people are getting hired all the way from Brazil or the Philippines or whatnot to electronically, right? So the option for Marvel or DC to hire artists elsewhere is more open, right? And plus, you know, by hiring people all the way around the world, they pay them accordingly, not to the standard of living that they have. Like over here, obviously they're gonna, let's say for example, I don't know, I'm just like throwing out a number. Excuse me. they're paying they're paying like $150 for a page, for example. I don't know. Again, I could be wrong, but I'm just throwing out a number again. Meantime, somebody in Brazil or in the Philippines, they're paying like $75 or $50, right?
Well, yeah, if yeah, the exchange rate is more advantage for Disney, and that's what Disney does, right? So they're right,
Yeah. Well, the
yeah,
point is that competition is a lot more thing because it's more open out there, and then because you're competing one talent wise, and you're competing like salary wise, right, or payment wise, and
yeah.
obviously they go for the cheaper
Well,
alternative, right?
so this is what's happening in the industry, right? So, like for example, in the sketch card business, for anybody who's out there who wants to know what's going on, so the way it works is the bigger company usually pays really well. They are um, the business model back in the day was if you're doing a sketch card, people want a sketch card from good artists and stuff. It becomes a 101. It's a perceived value of whatever, right? And so some of these companies are willing to pay a sketch artist $50, $60. Like in some cases, Ollie was getting what, $250 a card or something like that. Those kind of things, right?
Right,
And that would because the quality of the art is there and everything else, so it's enough for him to make a decent living, quit his job, and do this full time. Then comes along, Disney has this thing where they own the license. Now they own a lot of this stuff, and now they're saying, hey, we're gonna try to make as much money as we can through for our shareholders. That's what the end of the day is, right? And we're gonna say, hey, we're gonna only paying, this is all we're gonna pay. Take it or leave it. $15 a card, $20 a card, unless you're like Jim Lee, or you know what I mean? Like somebody's
right,
well known, right? That brings that up. And this is what you get, right? And a lot of the time it's become very uh, corporate. So I get an email for a project that says, "Hey, this is how much this is. Minimum requirement is 50 cards or 20 cards or so and forth. The more you do, and now they're doing, all this stuff where it becomes like an IT ticket. You're right. Fill out your vendor ID, submit it, then we'll send a FedEx stuff, and you got this deadline. You miss the deadline, you won't work for us again, right? Because they know
right,
in the back door, the back end, that there's going to be all these people, right? That
right.
that you know, yeah. There's going to be all these people that, hey, Rad, Niobe, Art Victim, those guys. Yeah, there's going to be those people who's scrambling to get in, right? There's tons of these artists willing to get in for 15 because it's all about, hey, I drew for Marvel, I drew for DC, I drew for Tops, I drew for Upper Deck, right?
Right.
And it's gotten to a point where um, a lot of it is right. A lot of it is nice to have, but now they're restricting stuff, right? Like Oliver and or Oliver can make a living off of his artist proofs. They used to give these out, right?
Yeah.
Now they don't give them out at all. Take it or leave it mentality, right? So this is what's happening. And if you look at the card business, it's booming, right? I went out to a local card shop here, right? And I was trying to pick up like maybe a pack or two. Nobody sells packs. They sell like boxes, right? Like complete boxes,
Right.
right? And it's like one of the packs I drew for is like at least $300 Canadian for a box. And I'm like, what
Yeah.
the right? Right? Yeah, cards are crazy these days. That's right. $300 for a box, right? And inside the box, I think there's 12
Ouch.
packs. And in each pack, there might be like 5 cards, 6 cards in total. And that's it, right?
Right. Right. Right.
And you're looking at it like, what the heck? What happened to remember back in the days we would go down to the local variety store, buy a bag of comics, on the spinner rack for like 50 cents. Then you got a quarter
Right.
left, buy a pack of hockey cards, a pack of, a pack of, what do you call it? A pack of garbage pail kids for another, 25 cents, and walk out with $1 with comics, packs of cards, right? And bubble gum that came with the cards.
Right.
Right now, I mean, uh like, remember the last con I was at with out in where was it, where we had the power out,
Ooh. Yeah.
the ice storm there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've seen these kids come in with their books, and they're like haggling price for Pokemon cards, and they knew exactly what they were looking for, right? And I'm like,
Right. Right.
holy crap! Like, when you were that young, I'm watching these like 11-year-olds coming in with their packs of, their little cases of Pokemon cards. They knew exactly what they were looking for. They knew exactly how much value these things were, right?
Right.
And I'm like, as a kid, I'm like, I don't remember ever doing that. I remember like the Gretzky, what do you call it, cards, where I was putting on my BMX and making that noise, blah 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 blah.
The fake. The fake. Yeah. The,
Right?
yeah. Yeah.
When he was with the Edmonton Oilers as a rookie, and all this other stuff.
Oh gosh. Yep.
Right? Yeah. Yes, and Popeye cigarettes. I remember those. Popeye cigarettes were great. Right?
That's
Like,
hilarious.
that was but now, it's a huge, I don't know, it is something, because like what Diamond did with the comics, right, is now we got like, Diamond is being bought by Alliance, right? Then something else. Now they're in distribution, or they're, something in the court, because they all this other stuff. So things are still in the air. So
Right. Right. Right.
business has changed. It's crazy how the change will affect us in weird ways, or something like that. But yeah, I'm doing these cons, so I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so what are we at? Where are we gonna be? I'm getting, I got new tablecloth,
You have what? Sorry.
new tablecloth.
Okay. New tablecloth. Yep. Yep.
So went on Temu and kind of dropped $40 here and $10 here to try these different tablecloth companies.
Yeah.
The printing companies. Some came back, and I was like, yeah, that's why it's $10.
Well, the tablecloth, does it come with your logo on it?
Yep, yep. It turned out really well. The one I found, I had to spend a little bit more money, right? So the one I found, I ended up paying about $39, $40 for, and
Yes. Yes.
they printed, and it turned out really, really well. Let me grab it real quick, and I'll show it to you. Right, while you guys are talking.
Where's my brush go?
So yeah, the tablecloth themselves.
Hmm.
So the print quality. Can you see that? Let me see if I can
Wow.
make myself
Yeah.
bigger
I see
here.
it.
So you can see the print quality. This is
Yeah.
a $40. This is about a 6-foot tablecloth. Look at that
No
print
way.
quality. Yeah. I have the link. So my logo now consists of, I put, official artists for Upper Deck, Marvel on it, kind of stuff.
Right.
This is $40, and this is the material, right? It's tablecloth material. And look at that, with the gradients and the stuff that I use, that turned out really well.
That
And
looks nice.
right? I'll send you the link if you're interested. It takes about a couple
I
weeks.
am, because I was gonna share my printer, but then your printer is a lot more nicer.
This is Temu. This is Temu. I'll send you the link.
Everybody's
The
doing
only
temp
drawback
review.
with Temu is I have to create. I have this little template. You just got to load into Photoshop, and you end up with this big file, right? And you gotta. The only drawback is you got to do a little bit of legwork, right? That means that you got to compress the file down to like minimum 15 megabytes, right? But then they
Right.
print it. So this is me creating a file that is 300 DPI. Then when I export it, it was like 300 and something megabytes, and I like literally shrink it down to I think 14%. And I
Yeah.
was worried, right? And the worst case scenario is I lost $40, right? And but nope, this is $40, and this is the print quality. So there you go, Niobe.
That's pretty cool. That looks good. And
That
your
looks
logo is
really,
always
really,
been like dynamic. So
yeah, right. So yeah, this is so I have like a red and a black with some webbings and the comic book kind of prints and stuff like that. So I bought two of these, right? And they came in a couple weeks. That's really what that is. And you can see there's
yeah,
like
I was gonna ask how long it took.
2 weeks. Two
That's not
weeks.
bad.
If you order it, it's usually pretty fast, right? I'll send you the link afterwards if you guys are interested. Uh, but yeah, the tablecloth turned out really well for that, because the next thing I want to do is, instead of a print wall, I'm gonna do like a flag in the back, just to put some prints up, because I hate putting up the print banner kind of thing. I just want to put a big banner across, just to
Yeah.
draw eyes, and people come and they're gonna flip through the portfolio anyways to see any of the stuff they want,
Yeah.
right? So it's just enough to draw an eye, and that's my next step. Is the first one I found was like, it was a $10 8 feet by 10 feet flag, and I got it printed, and everything's blurry, and it was just, holy crap, it was just horrible, right? So the next one is a $30 one, so I'm hoping, knock on wood, in 2 weeks I'll
Yeah.
tell you. Right,
Oh, that's funny.
right, right. And yeah, it's just it's these it's a hit and miss with Temu, right? But the best part of Temu is you can ask for a refund, and the refund is usually, what they do is they give you credit, right?
Right.
That's the credit. I mean, if you want a full refund back to your credit card, it will take like 3 to 4 days or something like that. But if you apply for credit, I mean, you can, I get things printed too, right? On my Temu thing. So I've been getting like the metal signs. These things here, I'm gonna clip, right, with the pricing on it,
Right.
right? And they,
Right.
just for fun, these were like $3 a piece, right?
Right. Right.
And they turned out pretty, they turned out pretty good. They turned out pretty good, right? So I
Right.
got
Right.
like,
Right.
like the Scan Me kind of thing that I can put on my table, and I like, literally I can just put stuff in front of it, right? It's gonna be on a stand kind of thing, right? And it's
Right.
metal,
Right.
and it's sharp, and it seems to work, and the print quality is pretty damn
Pretty good.
yeah, right? Yeah, they're the metal signed rad. They got the pre-punch holes like that on them, but they're I forgot, 8 inch by 12 or something like that, right? And they were like $3. I didn't do any print stuff on it. I just made like my own little my little signage stuff, and I thought they turned out really well. I mean, this is the
So
print
where did
quality
you
on
get?
the metal sign, right?
So I just turned around to my monitor to see what you like. Well, no, I saw the cloth and I was drawing, but then I'm seeing this. Did you get this from the same place where you got the tablecloth?
Yeah, yeah. I'll send you the like this. So this is So these are the metal sign,
Right.
right?
And what size are they? They look like they're 8.5 by 11.
They are exactly
I don't know. My perception through like the video might be off, but
they are 8 inches by 12
pretty
inches,
close.
right? 8 by 12,
All right, I'm
right?
pretty close.
Yeah. I mean, they look like the parking signs. You seen those parking signs? They're a little smaller. But
Right.
I kind of like these because I have these I have these clamps that I was using for my what do you call it? When I'm painting, I have an easel. You kind of clip that, but this can clip around a like a 1 inch rod or something like that. Like a post. Then you
Right.
can clip this directly, and it will hold it, right? So that is my sign off the top of the bar, I guess. My little flag, my banner bar kind of
Right.
stuff. And that's what I was thinking. Maybe that's the worst case or something like that. I don't know. It's just for me. Ideally, what this is for is when I'm like I got this. Like if I need to take a break a little bit when I'm doing a live stream and whatnot, kind of thing. Let's say need coffee, be right back. I just put it, and it's just perfect. My camera fits in this space, right?
Right. But it will also look good at the show.
Yeah, I just wanted to test. This is a photograph that I put in, right? I just want to see what it looks like, right?
Right.
Worst case scenarios, I mean, I lost $3, right? This is $3. Like,
That's crazy.
right? This is a $3 sign, right?
Right.
Right? Like,
That's crazy though. That looks good though.
right? I mean, there, see? You can see how like the details and I mean, that's not too bad for $3-4.
Right.
Right? I made pricing signs with these too, right?
Nice.
Like, it was just me like messing around. It's like, okay, well, I mean, you can look at the detail on that right
Wow.
there, right? And that's the backdrop I created, right? And that's like that was my setup for like the con kind of season stuff that I was hoping for.
What? Okay. No, you know what? That'll definitely be useful as far as like or that. Because as you know, like I'm very active myself at the cons, right? So
Yeah.
just knowing, I do have my own tablecloth, and like I said, like I was gonna recommend my guy, but then your guy seems to be like mine is only one color, and it was
Yeah.
$30. So I feel like you got a really great deal, full color.
Yeah, it's full color for $40. It comes from China. And the only thing is Temu requires you to spend a minimum of $35 for free shipping. Right? So
Oh, okay. Okay. That's the catch.
right? But I mean you're paying $40 for a tablecloth, so you get free shipping with that. So I just do things like, okay, well, it's $39 for the tablecloth, right?
Right.
And it's only a few dollars more for the 8 foot one. So I said, I'm just go with the 8 foot one. So I got two of those, right? And all I can, the tablecloth it's three sides, Arnold. So you get the front, the two sides, the top, and
Right.
only about 5 or 6 inches. There's a little flap that hangs over, so the back is open. Right.
Okay.
That's it. I mean, the tablecloth, instead of being so your typical tablecloth is, grab something darker. Typical tablecloth is you got You got your front. So the front is this is your front with your logo. You got your side like this, right? So you got
Right.
this is your front, your side. On the back, it's basically just like a little slit that hangs down, right? So this is the back, so you can see under the table.
Yeah.
That's the back, so it's open in the back, so you can throw
Right.
stuff
Right.
on
Right.
it, right? Yeah.
That's great info. I'll definitely look that up.
I'll send you guys the link afterwards in the chat if you guys are interested.
Yeah. My only challenge is that like yeah my I'm working obviously I'm working with a standard table which is 6 feet, right?
Yep.
Or by if I'm lucky, we get
You
eight
get
feet.
the 8 feet, but I mean, you buy you design it because you're. I design my stuff within the 6 feet table. Anything within eight
Right.
feet over, I just basically it's only like 4 inches wide more the skirt because it's still like the 8 feet, right? So you design something where like I don't have like my design is consists of just the middle part, right? Within this space here, I have it a little bit smaller than the full 8 feet. You know what I mean? Or the six
Right.
feet across, and that's it. That's all it is. And I have a design where I don't constrict myself, so my tablecloth can be adjusted here and there and all that stuff. All you have to do is just find the center, right?
Right. Yeah. It's funny because like I feel like sometimes I always have to kind of like change my
Your
not
layout.
too much my table layout differently at different shows, right? Depending on where I'm located, depending on the size of the table, or like
Yeah,
it, yeah.
I'm
But
I'm prepping for that. I'm prepping for that too, right? So
what the good thing is, like my, what my uh where I place, like I don't have a backdrop, as you
yeah,
know. I have a
yep,
table, yeah. But my table layout is pretty flexible or like adaptable. But that's always been my challenge. That's why I always need at least an hour to set up,
yeah.
at least.
I can put my setup in like 15 minutes,
Yeah, you're lucky.
right? But I prepped, and for anybody who's planning to do cons, if you're at home with your stuff, prep your table. If you have a 6 foot table, if you don't have a 6 foot table, just mark something on the ground. Like a 6 foot table on top, and just put some stuff out and try to figure out how you configure this and that, and those can take a couple photographs and see. um like that's what I do is I saw you plan for a lot of that stuff too, and that was a great
Yeah,
idea, right? So I start
yeah,
doing that. So I prep for every show. I say, okay, well, original artwork would better here if I put this here, 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 so there's that flow, right?
right,
Then if I have kitty items, I try to put it at the end of the table, right?
right.
So for anybody who's ever doing cons and stuff, if you have things that are like with kids or something like that comes to your table, you don't want them to stand dead center. You want them off the side a little bit, off your table. And so I put that there. The more expensive item I kind of put in one end, right? So at least people know, you know what I mean? And at least you want your table to be exposed with people around it all the time, right? That's what I find. I do a lot of is just readjusting for every show, right? Until I find that, like, it's tweaking, right?
Right. placement of where your stuff is. Um, Another thing I do for me is like, yeah, it's just yeah, where you're catching your audience, right? Like, yeah, for the kids, definitely. I don't really have a lot of like kids stuff. Um,
Yeah, I got
but
the
if I'm gonna put
Pikachu, right?
like gory stuff, like like
Yeah.
zombie or what, I know that's gonna scare off a kid, so I try not to put that too up front
Yep.
because I'm trying to make my table as family friendly as possible. But although I do have some print that more catered to adults, but I'm very mindful about like yeah, kids running up to my table and just like oohing and ahhing at all my artwork.
Yep.
But at the same time, obviously, I don't want them getting scared of like that zombie print
Yeah.
that I do, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Remember when I'm tabling and they always put me next to Arby?
Oh yeah. If anybody knows about, you want to talk about RB, like RB. No, you know what? Before we think, RB, RB is definitely one of the nicest artists I've ever met. So
Yep, yep. Arby's great. They like putting me next to poor Arby. Or is it the other way around? They always put Locke next to poor Arby. Arby White.
well, they probably see the quality. I mean, like
Right.
you and RB have quality in your work, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, you're
So
like yeah, you're like the mini pro table section.
Nauman, have you heard of Arby White at all?
Mm. Who's he?
He's a comic book artist also. Arby's been in the industry for a while. He draws a lot of not safe for work, like
Ah,
metal magazines, and
I
you know
see.
his portfolio or his print portfolio consists of sticky notes, lots and lots of sticky
Yeah,
notes. Right?
Yes.
And,
a good way to hide your heart. Good way
yeah.
to hide your heart.
My LCS has art
Yes.
with artist tables. I want to join it. Yeah, yeah, rad, dude. Anytime any LCS that has these events, we have a favorite one here in the Toronto area. It's called Gotham City Central. Um, Carlos, I knew Carlos all the way back in the day too, and Arnold's been with it. This is where I met Arnold, is at these events. So if you get these comic book free day and they bring out tables and stuff, dude, jump right in. That's how you get exposed, right? Those are the best because yeah, you get to meet and network with other artists and stuff like that too. So it's always nice to see those events that happens.
Yeah. I think in general, so if we're touching that topic, a lot of people, especially young artists, sorry, are so like I don't know, hyped up about like, oh, I want to, I want to do the Comic Con, I want to do the big cons,
Yeah.
I think. But you know what? A simple introduction to your local comic book store,
Yep.
and just showing them what you can do, or like introducing what you can do. They're very supportive with the art, with the art community, or the creative community, and they will be more than happy to have you table at their little event. And I know for me, it's like going to Gotham or any of the other stores that I go to, like Freak Show Comic, Mostly Comics, and they host event that you allows you to kind of like sell your stuff or promote your stuff, right?
Yeah, and it doesn't cost you a thing. It costs you their day, but it doesn't
Yeah,
cost you a dime. It's free marketing for you. Those are the best, man. Take advantage of that. If any LCS that does that, you know, willing to do that, because this is where, like, this is where sometimes I get some gigs too. Like, I'll end up doing retail variants for some of these LCS, because some of the
right.
LCS was like, hey, can you, you know, do a cover for us? We'll get an exclusive. And because you're cheap, you're cheap, and it's the best way to get exposure. Now you can say, hey, Marvel lists you down as you did some retail variants for them or something like that, right?
Right.
So those are the best. If you can do that, yeah, highly
It's a
recommend it.
great alternative. If you don't want to like, one, if you don't want to spend that much money yet, or at least you're trying to put your foot in the door as
Yep.
far as like seeing how you'll be interacting with people in general, because like
Yep.
you go to a con or any show that you're presenting your artwork, you're definitely gonna get questions asked, right?
Yep.
And there are some artists out there that are shy, that just needs a little bit of a confidence growing, and I think that's just a good way to kind of like you know get that moving, so to speak, right?
Yeah. So Naman, how did you? It was your first tabling at Heroes Con there. How was that?
Yeah, you know the story. Uh, right next to was I think it was Jay Lee's desk, and Jay Lee decided he didn't want to show up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And um, my friend was tabling right next to him, and he says, "Hey, nobody's here. Why don't you sit down?" And I said, "Yeah,
Yeah,
let me
you
sit
took
down."
down and you took over. That's cool.
And I just sat down, and then I started interviewing people, and everybody thought I was doing something.
Yeah,
I actually
those
did
are the
some
best.
work. I did make some cards while I was there,
Yeah.
and then somebody left a little tag right there. I guess Jay Lee used to just accept cash. He said, "Cash only, please," and I just left a sign there. Now I'm known as a hashtag cash only, please. Mm.
So sorry, now you were tabling. I'm just trying to catch up with the story here. You were tabling at a store.
No, there was it was a Heroes Con. Naman was attending with a
Oh,
bunch of YouTubers. So Naman is in the comic book community YouTube's channel,
right.
and he went to Heroes Con down in Connecticut,
Oh, okay.
and
No,
so
no, no,
that's yeah,
No, no Carolina, no Carolina.
or North Carolina. Sorry, North
Yeah.
North
Carolina.
Carolina.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah. So they do this pilgrimage all the time. It's kind of like San Diego Comic Con, but all the YouTubers, all the people, and all that stuff showed up, and there. This is where he met one of his friend there who was tabling there, and apparently the table next to him was, I guess it belonged to Jade Lee.
Yeah, Jay Lee.
You're from
Jay
Image
Lee.
Comic,
Okay.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I guess he didn't show up that day or something like that. So Norman just sat down and started doing interviews of YouTubers with it. And Nauman was sketching sketch cards and stuff like that for these YouTubers at the thing. And, it just became, he just ended up tabling there the whole
No
event.
way.
I
Because,
didn't ask for money. I didn't ask for money.
right?
But
Yeah.
then there was a little sign that says hashtag cash only, and
Yeah. So he gonna end up taking over the whole table, which is kind of cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
So there's an ongoing joke that Nauman is going to take over everybody's table.
Don't let Naman have your table. He'll take it over.
That's right. Jim Lee's not going to show up. Nauman will be there.
You will sign that for you?
That's right.
You'll be like Plan B. Okay, we don't have the pro artist. We'll get dominant Plan B.
That's right. He'll sign anything.
All good. It's all good. At least,
Right.
yeah. No, well, yeah. I think that's good to hear. That at least you're attempting. You're out there, Naman. I mean,
Mm.
I know. I never thought about doing this kind of tabling thing until like, oh, how did I? Trying to remember how. Oh yeah, no, I remember how I got into it. I mean, it's just a matter of like, it's funny because like it's pretty much the origin of spent pencils, Lock.
Yep. Yeah.
Um,
You want to
so
tell the audience there what Spent Pencil is? So how it started and everything?
Well, okay, yeah. So Spent Pencil's pretty much the art group that I co-founded, or yeah, I co-founded back then. Um, so it's an art group that consists of a bunch of other talented artists, whether they're already pro at their craft or they're still learning. It's definitely like an environment where we kind of like share knowledge, right, with each other, as far as like depending on our skill level, right. But anyway, so yeah, so the origin of Spent Pencil was that like I met up with I saw an old school friend of mine riding the bus one day, and he just happened to kind of like, well, yeah, we kind of got, we were kind of, how do you say this? Yeah,
Chatting
we
away,
like
catching up.
started catching up. Yeah, catching
Yeah.
up. And so he's known me since grade school, and he's known me in grade school to be one of those guys that actually, like that draws a lot, right? And he draws a lot as well too. And then, but then he kind of he mentioned to me that like at that time he was with another group of people, group of artists that were tabling at the Toronto show, and he invited me to be part of that. And at one point, like I'm going like, okay, you know what? That it's kind of scary because I know how that is. Like being at a table at a convention. Like for me, it's a little bit intimidating. But I don't know. I kind of flipped the switch there. Like I don't know why. I don't know why, but I just went, okay, rather than joining that group, I asked them, did you want to did you want to have a table ourselves, like just to kind of like just I don't know why. I got like I don't know what brought me to like saying like rather than me like okay let me learn from this group, right. I just wanted to jump in and just say okay, I want to know how it feels to kind of like you know connect with the organizer, get the table, and set up my own stuff, right. Funny enough, he agreed. He goes like, yeah, let's do it. And anyway, try to make this long story short, like we ended up calling another buddy of ours, like an old uh, uh, school friend that he wanted to jump in on it as well too. So that's three people, and then yeah, so from three people, I don't know how, it grew into like at the end of the run, because like yeah, the Spent Pencils crew had a good like almost a 10 years run. I don't
Yeah.
know if you know that lot, but like
Yeah. Yeah. I was. You were
um
telling me this back in the day. Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, as far as like, so there were three people, but then there was also a fourth person that actually really pushed the growth of Spent Pencil, which sorry, my buddy who I met, his name was Adonis. He goes like, I know another friend of mine that a real amazing artist, like, or at least I met him, and he's really cool, and he draws like fantastic uh figures and all that. Anyway, that was happened to be like Vince Sunico.
Yep.
So I didn't know Vince back then. So Adonis introduced me to Vince, and yeah, just looking at Vince stuff, when I saw his artwork, I was like, yeah, guy, like we definitely gotta bring this guy in as well too. So at the end of the day, Vince and I, we met, we got along, and then from Vince, it went from 3 people to 30 people at the end of the
Wow.
run. Like
Wow.
there was like, yeah, I don't
Nice.
know how we. It's not like we were recruiting people. Yeah, some people, yes, we did kind of like ask if they want to be a part of it. But for the rest, like I'd say about like maybe if I'm gonna count, maybe at least like maybe out of the 30, we invited only like maybe less than 10 people to be part of the group.
Right.
Everybody else was like, hey, I want to be part of that, right? And when meeting these people, we go like, yeah, you know what? Why not? Come on in, right? So again, there was like 30 of us in the end. But in the end, it's kind of the only one reason why I kind of like stopped it was because I felt like it took away from my focus of drawing. So the
Right.
group became so big that like for the most part I was doing a lot of the administrative stuff, like handling the
Yeah.
organization of like okay booking tables or looking at the logistics, like hotel when we're going, when we're going to like far away shows, or coordinating like car rides and all this. So it was like, so I was definitely not focusing on my own artwork. So whenever I go to a show, I'm like dead tired already. Like I'm mentally exhausted.
All right.
It's not just preparing for the show. As you know, like I also have a full time job.
Yep.
So it was like, yeah, there's no real like room for me to kind of like get creative. I was more focused on, okay, I want to make sure that everybody, you know, is prepared and ready and blah blah blah, right?
Yeah,
But
you're
don't get me
doing
wrong, like
administrative.
I
Yep.
did get help from like like somebody like, again, like Vince or some other members of the crew. But for the most part, I felt like a lot of the responsibility I put it on myself, right? So yeah, so at the end of the day, I just kind of went, okay, you know what? Maybe I need to really like just get back to my own stuff, right?
Right.
So here we are. Like here I am, like after all said and done, like I miss the crew and all this, but like I can see the difference when I'm more focused on my own stuff as opposed to like dealing with like 30 people,
Yeah.
right? So but yeah, that's spent pencils in a nutshell. I mean, like all in all, like I feel like the crew definitely came with a lot of like people did notice us. Like when we're at the convention again, 30 people, and you can imagine you can only imagine how many tables that is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's a lot.
rather than like calling it Artist Alley, we got like Spent Alley. But I'll always ask the organizer, can you put us all together?
Yeah.
So it'll be like Spent Alley. You'll be walking through Spent Alley right there,
That's
right?
right.
So
That's how I got rope into it.
and then no, you know what? I still keep up with like some of the former members or whatnot, and
Yeah.
a lot of them had been like succeeding.
Well, it's a grind like anything we do, right?
Yeah.
Just getting it at the door. All right, so that one's
So, but I learned a lot. Like the cool thing about that too, my takeaway from that is that like having to deal with the administrative stuff or logistic stuff, I learned to apply it on my own stuff. So that's why for me, it's like I'm confident when I'm going like doing my own show. Like I already know what I'm doing. I already know like what to think. Like it's not intimidating anymore, right? Because
yep.
I'm going. If I can handle it and do it for the crew, why can't I do it for myself, right?
Cool.
Yeah.
That's good.
A lot of it is it's trial and error. Naman,
Exactly.
when we're doing these shows.
Yep.
Uh, so your first time at the show, you like um, young artists. If you're out there, if you're listening on the rewind and all that other stuff, is yeah, like what Arnold says. Um, Start off small. Don't try to hit the big event, right? Because you
That's
don't know what will sell. And it's a smaller loss than something like if you go to a big fan expo of some sort, right, where you're paying 300 $400 for a table, then you got a hotel and all that stuff, and yet you don't know if you're going to sell a lot of the items that you brought, and you don't know your audience yet. So like anything we do, we start off small, we experiment. I mean, I think I started out with when I first started was
Yeah,
like 5x7s, right?
yeah, so I did do business before, and here's
Yeah.
what I would recommend is that set yourself up to fail, but don't
right.
make it fatal failure, right?
Yeah.
Make sure you don't run into fatal failure, but set yourself up for failure. Prepare to make some mistakes.
Well, that's it, right?
You're not gonna learn if you don't make a mistake.
You,
If you never made a mistake, then you never tried. You
Yep.
know.
you're right about that, Naman. I mean, like when I put myself to form my own crew, like I was prepared to make those mistakes, and that's why my confidence grew because I did make those mistakes, and obviously now I know better, right?
Yeah.
Um, I know better, so that's the thing that I think one of the reasons why too that's like people gravitated to spend pencils was that we were willing to share all that mistakes with them, so that way
Yeah.
they don't have to go through it, right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing that's one of the things that we offer. It's like, yeah, if they're suggesting something, we go, no, no, that's not going to work because we tried it already, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and then so now they're learning from us now, right? So you're right. Like Dom is like, you definitely need to kind of just go out there, and that's pretty much what I did. I went out there and I did what I did, and then here I am, right?
Yeah.
Uh, mm,
It's about like even every con I go to, I even like we're like this is what we're doing right now. Arnold and I are analyzing what happened on a Saturday or a Sunday. There's always these things kind of stuff, but it's not a big of a loss for us compared to if we are fully committed to something like a big conventions, right?
Right.
This
right,
is where we're putting $600, $700 for a table, then hotels and all this other stuff. We've gotten to that point where we've gotten into the game. I guess we call it a game now,
yep,
where we kind of figured out pricing, we kind of figure out logistics, we kind of figure out our setups and what sells and what doesn't sell, right? That's what counts. So um, most of the time, like this is what Lou is doing with David with pop culture is he's doing these little videos where you got young artists showing up paying $40 to $60 for a table, and you know the organizer bring the customers. It's your call to actually sell to the customer, to lure the customer to buy. And if you walk away and you end up like $60 in a hole, then that is you on you, because you're either, you know what I mean, you're either not selling or engaging with the customers and stuff like that. Like at the very
right,
beginning I was doing what remember how we were all sketching.
yeah,
Right? At the very beginning, I noticed that every time I sketch or draw or do commissions for somebody on the show floor, unless I have a helper, right? People would just either walk away or just stand there and stare, right?
right.
They don't want to bother you too. They're being polite.
Yeah, yeah, they're being very polite. So I kind of stopped doing that. If anything, I will pre-commission the stuff and show up the floor, right? The only a few times where I actually did commission was at the end of the show where like I need to make table back or I need to make a little bit of profit for gas or something like that. I'll take on a
Right,
$50, $60 commission, right?
right, right.
When the show goes completely, upended, right? Because of whatever reason, right? And sometimes it's the organizer's fault, but most of the time it's like either, you know, like it's us, right? It's really up to us. If we're hustling,
Well,
we should get some people, right? At least, anyways.
well, that's it, right? Like I feel if you know, if I'm gonna share a little bit of my success, like yeah, obviously in the excuse me, obviously in the beginning when I first started it, like my artwork was weak. It was like when you talk about amateur, that was amateur hours for sure, right? But I learned I learned that like yeah, you gotta humble yourself. You don't jump in there thinking that you're the best artist in the alley type thing, right? Just prepare to be prepare to be humbled because people are gonna walk by you
Yep.
because one they don't know you, and then two, um, maybe your artwork isn't like that popping, right? But
Yeah.
eventually, as your skill grows and you get better and you get to be more, your style or you develop some sort of art style, you tend to kind of end up standing out from the rest. And that's one thing I've learned like now that like I had this distinct look in my artwork that when people buy it, that's the feedback that I get that like what they're getting from me is something that they don't see on the floor,
Yep.
right? Um, so for example, and I'm not knocking these artists down, but back then, and it still trickles till today. a lot of like digital artists that sell prints. When you walk down Artist Alley, they all look the same.
Sure.
I don't know if you feel the same way, Locke, or even Naman. When you
Yeah,
walk
yeah,
up
yeah.
Artist Alley, you see a lot of the prints. When you're looking at certain digital artwork, it's
They
almost
have that
like
look and
I've
feel.
seen that in I've seen that in the other aisle, or I've seen that like two tables away. So yeah, like although that's a popular look and feel for that, say for example, that anime style, you're setting yourself up to fail because you're not being unique enough, right? Or if you are catering for those people that are just looking for that style, then unfortunately those are the only people that you're gonna nab. But unfortunately, there's an artist a table or two rows away from you that is doing the same thing. So now you're really, really competing with somebody that has a similar style as you.
Yep.
And it may not just be one person. There can be like 5 or 10 others, depending on how big the artist alley is. So now it's like, yeah, you're really like making your audience like it. Yeah, it the audience gets smaller and smaller the more other people are doing the same thing that you're doing, right? So that's my
That's your
advice.
take on it,
Like,
the stuff. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like anything, it's all about bringing somebody to the table. That's really what it is, right?
right.
Even like I remember how I first showed up and I had all those books.
Hey guys, I gotta go.
Oh, okay, Nauman.
Oh, you have to go. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
before you go, Nauman, I'm gonna put you on the big screen there.
All
What do you
right.
have coming up? Maybe next week we'll do the show on your channel then,
Sure, sure, whatever.
right?
Uh,
That kind of stuff. If you
yeah.
can hold off on all the if you got
I'll,
some
I'll let
energy.
you. I'll give you password and everything, and let you keep on
Okay,
running.
okay, and all
Okay.
that stuff. Get better
Hey,
soon, man. All right.
Oh
okay.
yeah. Okay.
Hey,
Good job.
have a good one, guys. And hey,
Yeah,
Jaguar. I
Jaguar's
want
in
to
this.
talk to
Yeah,
Jaguar. Hey, Jaguar, can you hear me?
he's in there. He's just responded.
Hey,
Yes.
you want something from my? You want something? You need to give me your. You need to IG me, bud.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Hit up Jaguar. Sorry. Hit up Naman there on his Instagram. Right. I guess
yeah, Naman the Drawman.
Naman the Drawman.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right.
All right. All
All
right.
right. Have a
Hey,
good night,
good meeting
Naman.
you. Was go back to the. I forgot the name. Gentleman's name.
Arnold.
Arnold. Hey, Arnold. Oh, I met
Yes.
you before. Okay.
Yeah, we met
Yes.
before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Arnold. And love. We'll see you guys. Have
Yeah.
fun, guys.
No. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
See
Have a
you
good
guys.
night, buddy. Rest up.
Yeah. Take care, man. I didn't know he was sick, but
Yeah, yeah. Nauman had a stroke
oh no.
last year. Yeah, he's recovering. Usually, that's how I found Nauman was he was trying to get back into drawing.
Right.
Well, no, he was drawing some stuff before, and I was working late into the night like I always do, and I have the YouTube running in the background,
Right.
and you know how it auto plays after a clip or something like that, and
Right.
I was I think I was playing somebody who's like doing drawing or something like that, and I guess their stream ended, and it jumped to
Right.
the next one, and Naman was on there, and he was trying to figure out some stuff, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I in the chat, and he invited me on, and we're just like, I was explaining to him how to do this, and we kind of that's how we ended up meeting and
Nice.
stuff, right? Yeah, yeah. It was just me just shooting the shit at
Right. Right.
2 o'clock in the morning or something like that.
It's funny.
Right, and yeah, that's where things that's where we end up meeting the whole thing, right? So
Right. Right.
yeah.
Right. Cool. Cool.
So
So yeah.
that's what I mean. Like a lot of the time, I think I'm trying to figure out my next step is the big con stuff. right? And
Right.
that is Bruce. So that's going to be my first setup. That's before. Wait, no, is Niagara Falls before Bruce? Niagara Falls is
Yeah,
before
I
Bruce.
believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, okay. So Niagara Falls will be the big one. So I'm gonna go down Niagara Falls for that one. So probably gonna need your help and Ollie's help and
Yeah,
all that
yeah, yeah,
stuff.
for sure.
Yep. Are you going on the day before or on the Thursday or are you going on Thursday? Is it
Uh,
Friday? Sorry, Friday, right? It's Friday.
yeah.
Shows start Friday. Yeah.
Most
Um,
likely Friday, because like I try to reserve a lot of my days off because of the other shows. So
yeah, yeah.
I'm
So
mostly gonna come on
Friday.
Friday.
When is the show start on Friday? 4 o'clock,
Uh,
right?
yeah, I know it'll probably be in the afternoon sometime.
Okay, so I'll go out early in the morning then. I guess what I'll do is I'll go out early in the morning, and we can talk afterward about parking and a whole bit too. So,
Yeah,
um, the yeah, so that will be my first kind of setup. So I'm hoping to get all my flags, my whatever, my backdrops and everything in a couple weeks, and that way I can just do the preliminary setups.
right,
Test out my table. Um, because I don't have a corner anymore, so I don't have to worry about bringing an extra table,
right,
right? Um, so I think I'm okay with that. Test up the tables, set up the setups. If I get certain books um, by that time, maybe I'll bring some and put it on
right.
the put it for the show. But I find it really hard to sell the books, even the
Yeah,
stuff I've done, right?
yeah,
Like, if anything, I'll probably bring maybe three of each books, right? I mean, I got a lot of covers.
right, right, right.
Maybe I don't know. That's tough because it just every time I bring a book, it just eats up room where I can use it for other items,
Exactly. Right.
right?
No, I mean, hey, if you're if you're proud of that book or if it's a book that you're really pushing, obviously bring it, right? But if you're really there, well, like myself, like I'm there to make money, so to speak, right? Like
Yeah,
I'm there, like so. First thing first, sounding selfish, but like I need to make my table back.
yeah,
So obviously the print can be my money maker. So yeah, that's gonna be forefront. Um, but yeah, if I do decide to like bring a book or what, or if I do have my own book, or I know I've done my share of like doing variant covers for at least like a couple of in independent.
but
Um,
it's hard to sell.
it is hard to sell, like so. With all due respect, I appreciate the opportunity and all this, but I know unless unless I know that that book is moving, then yeah, I'm gonna say okay, let's do it, right? But
Yeah,
no, don't get me wrong. I still let them know that like yeah, I've done cover for so and so, right? If they're interested, I have a copy, right? But I know I like especially like shows like Montreal or Ottawa and all this. Like I need to get my money back from those shows,
yep.
right?
Especially the
So
price we're paying for the table to begin with, anyways.
now don't get me wrong. Like it's funny because like I I think I told you I calculated my cost for Montreal. Like table, table accommodation. Mind you, I'm sharing it with with Mikey.
Yep.
Table accommodation, gas, food, and all this. It's less than what I would pay for a end cap for the Toronto show.
Yeah.
Sadly, and I actually have a corner or like an end cap in Montreal. So figure that one out. It's already an end cap, and I'm still getting a good deal.
Yeah.
Ah, it's just crazy when I did the math. I'm going like, wait, what? Anyway, well, no, just for the viewers, like I think we were talking about earlier. It's like what are you willing to spend on or risk when you're doing shows? Like and don't get too hyped up on the fact that like just because a certain show is bringing in all the people does not always equate to you selling or selling out. Again, if anything, you're setting yourself up to fail because you're competing with already established artists. So it's like, oh wow, that show is bringing a lot of people, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to sell out there. Nah, that's not always the case.
Right.
You your artwork definitely needs to be something special for people to actually like run to, or at least you definitely have to have the audience already, established audience, for them to actually look for you,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
You know what? I'm
So,
gonna let's see if anybody's in the chat who's willing to. If you guys are willing to jump on and talk about this, you're welcome to. I'm gonna paste the link to the stream there. If you guys want to jump on, you guys welcome to. Rad, if you want to jump on there too, or Jagular, or you know, Art Victim there. I know Art Victim. I was trying to get Art Victim in here. She's a really good artist and stuff,
hmm,
and trying to see, but she's kind of tied up with some, I guess, some issues and stuff like that.
okay.
So yeah,
I would definitely like. Sorry. One more thing. I would
yeah,
definitely would love to have other people's feedback as far as like my word is not bond or with not thing, but then I'd like to hear other people's experience as far as like what their what their experience as far as like setting up or like what is their feedback or whatever, right? Because like that this is just me sharing what I've seen so far, right?
yeah. Bleeker, he thinks that if you draw horror stuff, timeless, yeah, yeah, Frankenstein, yeah, those are always the good stuff. Arnold, I know down at Niagara Falls they do the Fright Fest
Right,
stuff.
Mayor?
Yeah, Frightmare. There you go. Right. That's a pretty good show too. If anybody's into the horror stuff and in the near the Buffalo area, especially in the Canada side of Niagara Falls there, um, around Halloween. Was it Halloween?
Yeah, October. Yeah.
Yeah, in October there's it's called Frightmare, I believe. I don't know,
Yes.
frightmare.com or something like that. There is a huge convention, it's just basically all on horror stuff. Arnold
Horror
and
stuff. Yeah.
Michael, yeah, usually attend that show, and they do pretty well. You guys do pretty well for the show.
We do pretty well for somebody, and and I hope I don't mess up the organizer, but like we do pretty well for somebody that like sells 3/4 of the stuff with more superhero and anime stuff, and then the rest are horror. Because
Yeah,
I've never been like I remember the first time we did it. It's like I wasn't prepared to have that many horror material, but I just pulled up just how many prints. But
yeah,
yeah, people bought the print, but at the same time, they were like, yeah, they were loving buying like the superhero and anime stuff from my table.
right. Arnold, I'd like you to meet Rad Arnold.
Hey,
Hey,
Red,
Arnold.
nice to
Nice
meet
to
you.
meet you.
Hey, Rad, have you done any cons at all yourself, or
No, I've never been to a con.
really? Okay. I mean, have you attended a con or just
Nope, never
table?
been to one.
Really?
Wait, what?
Uh-uh.
Man, you're missing out, buddy. You are missing out.
Dude, you are like I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the screen right now. I'm looking at
Yeah.
Deathstroke there. That looks really cool. Very nice.
Yeah, Rad is really good with the pencil.
Nice. Hey, I love my pencil too. I'm more comfortable with pencil than I am with any other medium.
Yeah.
So yeah, Arnor and I have been conning Rad for like a long time, right? So we've been attending con and doing, we're always trying to figure out what sells, what doesn't sell. Our first experience as a con, how, like, I mean, the first show I went to was like nobody showed up, kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't even sell $10 worth of prints.
Right.
Well,
Right?
that's all of us.
Yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? We were inexperienced. We were trying to figure out, and it got, the thing was, I find it funny that a lot of people don't ask other people, right? Like I don't know if that was your experience when I was out there, right? I end up going around like, hey, so if you're set up, how do you get that? Where did you get that, and all this other stuff. So
Well,
Yeah,
I,
I've kind of always known to like really break into industry. You got to go to the cons. I remember the old videos of Todd McFarlane and all the image guys, and
yeah,
they would talk about it in their videos that if you're a new aspiring artist, that you need to go to the cons and
yeah,
show your work. That's how you connect.
right. Well, no, it's true, and I think yeah, we covered this earlier on. Is that you definitely need to put yourself out there. Um, if you really wanna succeed during the convention, you gotta you gotta yeah you gotta put yourself out there. You gotta do as many as you can, like the one that because once you start doing a lot more of that, like on a yearly basis, then that's when people will start recognizing you. And if your artwork is good enough, you will establish your regulars.
yeah. You end up forming a clientele.
I know for me, like
You got to
not to toot
follow
my
in.
own horn, not toot my own horn, but like I've been doing this long enough that like my goal every year is to bring out new prints. Why? Um, I feel like I have established my followers. So when they come to my table, they'll start pointing out, oh, I have that already, I have that already, and then if they don't have a certain piece that I don't have, and they love my work, yeah, they'll just
They'll
buy
start
it,
requesting it.
right? Like um, and that's it. Like like then and then yeah, I do see them coming back every year, and I'm just happy that they do come back, and then that they're still loving my work. So, but yeah, you need to develop that, or at least establish that connection with, I guess, I don't know,
Your audience.
your audience. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. You because
Network.
yeah, we I end up with like some followers and stuff like that who do ask me if I'm gonna be at this uh conventions and stuff like that, because they are looking at like the stuff that you post on Instagram, and they're like, "Ooh, maybe I can get that," right? And
right.
they're gonna be there at the show, either in costume or something like that. So
So yeah, so that's it. So that's why yeah, I have. I don't know about you, um, Locke, but I know I'm gonna be well, I have somebody like updating my website, but I have my calendar is gonna be yeah, it's gonna be full. So I'm gonna be doing at least 2 or 3 show a month, starting from
woo!
month
I remember
possibly.
those days. I remember those days.
Yeah, and people going like, "How do you do?" Like I don't know, I don't know why it's fascinating people, but they go, "How do you do that? Yeah, like you work, you have a full-time job and all this." I go, "Yeah, but you know what? Those cons are like my vacation. Like I love being at the con. Like I love
Yeah,
interacting. Like you said, lots. Like I just love the community, right?"
yeah,
Um, don't get me wrong. Like I love my full time job and I love the people that I work with. They're amazing people, and I'm not just saying that, but like it's a different venue. You know,
yep.
when you're at a place where you actually love what you do. Like, well, in this case, I love. I've been always been passionate about artwork, and having to have that like opportunity to kind of like put that out there and having other people actually like my stuff. It's a great feeling. So.
It's yeah. It's nice to be appreciative for all the hours that we kind of spend in the deep dark basement and drawing all the time, right, Rad? That's the same thing, right? It's nice
Yeah,
to get that
yeah,
recognition that, hey, I've been toiling away for years on end to get to a point where I can actually put pencil to paper and it looks like something cool, right? That's
yeah.
What
right.
that's why I love drawing fan art. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, people sometimes I hear, and it's sad that like I hear some artists going like, "Oh, I don't like drawing fan art because I feel like they I don't know if they because they outgrew it or they're just too good for it." But for me, it's like drawing fan art. For me, it's like having my 7-year-old self look at me now and go like, "Oh my gosh, you're doing that now!" Like you get to like you're actually like drawing your favorite characters back then. Characters that are drawn by other people that you admire, but then now it's like, yeah, you can do it yourself now, and that's pretty much where I am right now. I'm able to pull off drawing Superman or Daredevil or whoever, and yeah, just know that like I'm doing it, and then people are actually like interested in it, right? So
Oh, you're doing Omega Man. That's cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
what do you call it? I told you I just woke up earlier on. I'm going like I wasn't prepared as far as like who am I gonna
It's okay. I mean, like anything, right? Like, I mean, look at Rad. He's got Deathstroke, or
yeah.
yeah, look at that. So he's got all the bullet holes and everything all
Right.
worked out and stuff, right?
The
So
gears and
that's
everything.
cool. That's cool, right?
How long have you been drawing, Rad?
Well, since I was little,
Yeah.
since I could hold a pencil, yeah.
Most of us are the same.
Do you have any favorite? What do you call it? Do you have any favorite character you like to draw?
I thought about that a lot. Batman's up there.
Yeah.
I like drawing Spider-Man.
Now, sorry, I want to touch on Spider-Man because Spider-Man is definitely one of those characters I used to hate drawing. Why? I hate having to draw all his web,
Uh,
especially at certain poses. I'm going like, okay, how does this work? But it's just a matter of like knowing the contour of your, the pose, and then like I don't know. Yeah, you definitely have to kind of like strategize or think like, okay, yeah, how would the web cover him in this pose type thing. That's why I've always been like, ugh. I used to hate drawing Spider-Man. I mean, I'm okay with him right now. But how do you feel about drawing all his web?
yeah, I have fun with it. I have fun with it.
Yeah,
Um, I like Spawn also.
right.
Spikes and chains. Chains are kind of like Spider-Man's webs. I guess the chains kind of aggravate me a little bit.
Oh, it aggravates the hell out of me every time I get a request for what's his name,
Spawn?
the guy with the skull on his head that rides a
Oh,
motorbike.
Ghost
Ghost
Rider.
Rider. Yeah, I got to throw some chain in. It's just like, oh god damn it, I keep getting the links all wrong. Right? You kind of get
Yeah,
into the flow, right, Rad? You're just drawing the link, then all of a sudden, so you did something. It's like, wait, that doesn't look right.
Nope, we can sympathize, man. We can
uh,
sympathize. But yeah, well, it's funny because like I used to laugh at myself because I'm going like, oh man, I hate drawing web, but I love doing chainmails on either Captain America or Aquaman.
oh yeah,
I can
yeah,
go on putting the chainmail details on that. I'm going like, this is kind of satisfying.
yeah.
I don't know, but
Yeah, it's the little things that once in a while we get, right. I got to a point where now I'm just painting it, and it's like, yeah, I'll fix it in paint afterwards. Just put a little bit of white here and there just to give you enough hint, and that's it.
well, what was the thing back then? Something about blacking out.
Yeah, just the ink. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's part of my technique there.
Blackening things out, like putting like shadows here and there, and
Yep,
so it's like,
can we get away with it?
yeah. So, uh, what else was I? So yeah. So as far as
Wait, this
conventions,
weekend. What's up with this weekend? Are you doing the Sarnia one? No, is that the pop culture Sarnia? No, not pop. What's or is it next weekend? I'm trying to remember what date that
I'm
was.
not I'm not doing any shows yet until the end of the month. Near the end of the month, I'm doing Cornwall.
Yes, Cornwall. Thank you.
So that's another great show to go to. It's not as big, obviously, as Montreal or Niagara Falls, but you know what? The again, I think this is another place that I feel like I established myself, that I do get repeat customers. And that's why every year I go back, because I know that, like, I'll one, get my table back, and then two, yeah, I'll be able to move a lot of stuff, because it is a great show. Like, the organizer does a really great job promoting it in their in their
The
community
area,
or in
yeah.
the area. So they do get a lot of people coming in. So I'm very happy about that.
But it's also like 2.5 hours away from Toronto, so it's an added bonus. Doesn't matter. I mean, I know that anytime there's a show that is outside of Toronto, that is far away,
Yeah.
I'm always glad for those kind of shows. So yeah, rad. It just let you know, like we're Arnold and I are in the same area. Um, it's just that we find that the when you're closer to a big city, um, we find it's a tougher sell because most people wait for those conventions that are the big conventions that are downtown, your downtown core area and the whole bit, and they try to
Gotcha.
save up for money for that. But some of these people that live in these remote towns and like 2-3 hours away from the big cities, it is a big commit for them to show up to a convention.
Right.
And so when a convention shows up in their town, they tend to spend more, right? Because they don't need to, book hotels and those kind of things,
Yeah.
right? Those
Right.
are the perfect shows that we find that we make money on.
But they're hungry for, I guess, this kind of like pop culture,
Yeah,
event. And
especially here
so
in Canada where it's snowing like year round. No, just kidding. It feels like that sometimes, right?
right, right.
uh then people just want change because the summertime for us is boom time because everybody's out, everybody's doing stuff, everybody, craziness of it all, right? So yeah,
Right.
anytime we get a chance to leave the home, we do that.
Yep.
Right. Any plan on your end to ever do a show there, Rad?
Yeah, I'll try to someday.
Some days. Any aspiration for that, or just don't know yet?
Yeah, I'll just take it one step at a time.
Right.
So where are you located, Rad?
Near Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, stateside.
Yeah. Most of the
Nice.
guys I run into here on on the YouTubes are mostly stateside. They're collectors or artists and stuff like that. I kind
Right,
of
right.
got dragged into this community by mistake, kind of thing. Kind of ran into some people, became friends. I didn't know this like these comic book community kind of thing existed when I first got into it because I thought it was just YouTube was just YouTube, right? Us artists going on there and creating time lapse, like speed,
Right, right.
and that was it, right? I wasn't expecting to be like a whole collector communities and stuff like that, and it was kind of nice that everybody welcomed me with open arms and stuff like that. So it was kind of neat. Then I
Well,
started meeting
yeah.
start meeting creators, other creators, and stuff like that, which is kind of fun. I didn't know existed, right? But there's also that dark side of the community too. So just
Yeah.
just a heads up for that kind of stuff.
Well, look, your artwork is very attracting, so I can only imagine like people like saw your work and it's like, hey, who's that guy? I can learn off him.
Yeah, yeah. You remember when I first started? Like when I
Uh,
was doing the Google Plus stuff. I mean, I did 1,000 sketch cards, man.
well, there you go. Yeah, it's all about the visibility and
Well, it's
the
about
quality.
the like anything you do, right, Rad? Like you need to draw, right? If
Yep.
you're not good with arms or hands, you just draw that until you got it perfect, right? Then
Yep.
you're constantly evolving. That's what this stuff is, right? So when I first started, remember when I first bought Copic when Copic was cheap, right? You kind of get into it, then okay, so what my technique is, okay, I got Copic, now what, right? What can I do with it? Can I render steel? Can I render metal? Can I render, what can I do with it, right? What are the
Right,
techniques? What are the stuff? So all you can do is just sit down and you literally draw, right? And try
right,
it. And you start doing things like, okay, well, I got that worked out. How do I do skin tones, right? How do I blend? How do I do this? And it's all about, like, if I lay down dark color first, I'm kind of messed up. Now I have to reverse it. Now I have to lay down the light color, then apply the color like paint, you know what I mean? So you learn the medium.
right,
And as you learn the medium, that medium becomes your utility belt, right? Like anything you do, right? Like when you figured out how to do shadings, you figure out how to do your color tones, your depth, how to create, you know you can see stuff in negative space now, right?
right,
You already seen, right? Even Rad there, right? When he's drawing this stuff, he's already building the form based on shadow. He's looking at it from a different perspective now. He's seeing lights and shadows. I do the same when I'm working with like Copics and these alcohol markers or paint. So I'm looking at more lighting now. I see
right,
light and shadow more than anything else, which is basically what brings back to our principle of drawing, right? Remember when we were drawing for the first time, we're doing shadings, right? Remember drawing the little circles and the shadows and the squares with the dark shadows, and learn you learn about ambient lights and reflective lights and key lights and
right,
spotlights, and you just try it out. And I think that's like any artist who start off first. It's always like, I find, yeah, you see me talk at the conventions where parents are coming up. Hey, my kid wants to draw. Should I get him an iPad? I go, if you have the money for it, that's great. But the kid's going to end up playing Minecraft more than actually draw.
very true.
Right? Right? So I tell the parents, like, look, just run out to the dollar store, grab a pack of pencils and colors and alcohol markers and acrylic paints and stuff. It's not like you're going to Michael's or one of these art stores and you're spending $50 for an art kit or anything like that. You're spending dollar store stuff where the kid can explore, right?
Right,
And that's what I tell parents. That's the easiest way. Then when they get professionally, if they want to go into the professional industry, and I tell them, look, when I was doing stuff for Mattel, when I was doing stuff for all this stuff, the software part of the industry is always changing. So it's no good if you walk in and all you do is know how to use Procreate, because if you go into a studio, they give you Photoshop. They're going to teach you how to use Photoshop. The only reason why they hire you is that's because you know how to draw, right? They didn't
right,
hire you because they're going to teach you how to use Photoshop and teach you how to draw. No, they hired you because they saw your drawing, they saw your portfolio, right? They know that when they say, hey, I need this area to be brightened, or I need to do this forms or the shadows and all this other stuff, You already know how to do that. What they
Right.
do is they provide you with the tools. So they'll give you, you know, a Wacom tablet, a Cintiq, whatever it is that they're going to give you. Then they're going to have an IT department that will install the software. Then from there, they'll have, you know, oh, you're using this, you know, Maya, or if you're using, 3D Studio Max, or you're using ZBrush, we're going to teach you how to use the tool, right?
Right.
Because if you're good at sculpting, they're going to teach you how to use the tool because they know that you can sculpt, right? And that's what that is, right? It's like any great painters, right? If you know how to paint, they'll just provide you with the paint. I guess is a
Right.
tool and
Right.
a canvas, right? They're gonna provide you with that tool, right? They didn't hire you because you knew how to, you know, you knew all the colors of the rainbow, or you know Photoshop inside out, right? It's a plus, right? It is a plus, but it's not always what they have in the studio, right? That you're gonna run into. You're gonna be shoved right into a workflow. You're gonna be shoved right into their pipeline, right? People have this conception that if they work for an animation studio or Disney or Mattel and all this stuff, is they're going to be the lead artist, right? It's rare. It is very rare that you get hired because you're, you know, you only get hired because if you're like, if you got like 1 million followers or 2 million followers or something like that, right? You know what I mean? And you become the lead artist or something like that because you have enough
And,
behind you.
yeah.
You're
And
normally
funny.
hired because you can draw, and they're going to stick you in, and you're going to draw exactly that same style as whatever studio hired you as. Right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
and that's what I tell parents. I tell parents like, hey, look, right? Go ahead, buy them the iPad, but you know, you don't need a gaming computer to do this to start off with, or a laptop, or you know, whatever. Just give
Yeah.
them basic stuff, pencil and paper. If, like, you know, like between you two, I see, and it's like, oh, okay, so he knows how to form lights, he knows how to form shapes and stuff like that, right? He knows how to make the character pop on paper, right, using black and white. After that, I mean, I'll hire somebody who can do the color, you know what I mean? To finish the
Right.
project or something like that. And that's how most of it works. Yeah, that's industry wise, right? Piece of paper and a pencil always is the best tool to start off with, right? And that's why I have sketchbooks still. I mean, I still draw in my sketchbook, right? I don't know about you
Yeah.
guys. So, right?
Well, no, you know what?
You got the iPad.
I
You draw in that. I know that.
no, I know, but no, you know what? If preference what? I love drawing traditional. The only reason why I use the iPad or I use the computer is because it's faster for me to produce my prints,
Yep.
right?
Yeah,
That's
but I
how it,
know right off the bat that you can draw with right,
yeah, but
with
it
pen and pencil, right? I
yeah.
know Rad can do this too, right? Rad, have you worked? Have you ever worked digitally?
No, I need more experience with digital.
Yeah, but that's something. I mean, I know you can draw. That's one thing, right?
It's
Digital
something I
stuff,
want to. It's
that
something I want to get into.
yeah, it's expensive, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's you know. Speaking of Mike here, he's Vector Mastro here. He's got a great YouTube. He usually streams around 8 o'clock in the morning. There, he does some stuff. Yeah, this guy I know way back in the Google Plus era. This is where
Yeah.
uh, give him a follow, everybody. He's got a YouTube channel where he does these drawings and stuff. He's also got a shout out to the Discord channel too. It's pretty busy and pretty popular in his Discord channel. He usually runs a show almost every day. He talks about Mike is from down in Atlanta, I think, also around your area there.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
yeah, he runs these. He's official. What do you call it? Um, yeah, he does these. What do you call it? He runs these event where he brings artists in. Yeah, sorry, East LA and Atlantic. Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, from East LA. Yeah, now lives in Atlanta, right? Um, Yeah, I met him back way Vector Maestro there. Way back then when we were doing Google Plus stuff. He's got sponsored by Adobe, and he does these fresco stuff. And I love his he's got this unique like guess I don't know, South American Spanish style. It's very Inca kind of stuff. I just love it. Very tattoo, very traditional Hispanic style, and it's just fantastic, right? If you ever see him, just give him a follow. I don't have his Instagram. Let's see if I can find his Instagram. Post it in there. Yeah, Aztec Modern. There you go. There you go. Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah, he does these fantastic stuff, right? Yeah. I love his techniques and stuff. He does these skull stuff, which is a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I always liked like lowrider airbrush
Yeah, yeah,
work on the
you
cars.
really gotta see it. You gotta see it. Let's see if I can find. Uh, uh,
It's kind of sorry. I'm just trying to picture in my head like the artwork, whatnot. It's like I'm picturing like the Day of the Dead type of drawings, like those. I don't know if
yeah,
I'm
yeah. Here, I'll post his link. Is here? I found Mike's is his Instagram here. There we go. That's his Instagram in the private chat there if you guys want it to.
All right.
Right. So he's got it's fantastic. Yeah, we hail back in the Google Plus days. We started in that area. We kind of end up and he wait, forgot. Yeah. I still got them. I love the stickers that he sends me. Because a lot of the time it's on my little art boards and stuff. I got a few left, I think. I still got a few left somewhere. See if I can find them.
I get.
Here you go.
I get like Oh, sorry. I'm just looking at the. Well, that's pretty cool.
Oh, it's very. This is my favorite. This is the kind of stuff that I always loved. Every time I see him does this stuff.
Wow.
Right.
He adds,
Yeah.
he adds a
Cool.
lot of details into his work, and
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's very simplistic, but the simplicity is the complexity of its own.
right.
Right. I mean, he's got the technique all worked out and the whole bit. Right. So yeah. Dude, you got to send me more stickers, man. Right? I like when he does his lettering, it's just one of those things where he's got it worked out, right? I mean, this guy's a master at it, right?
Very
Everything
cool.
he does is vector base, right? So yeah, he's a master at it, right?
So
And
when
stuff.
you say vector, I guess he's using
He's using
Illustrator.
Adobe Illustrator for a lot of his stuff, right? But like when he draws, I mean, we started out we were testing things like the Microsoft Surface at the time, and they were giving us softwares. I was testing like all sorts of stuff. I was writing little reviews back in the days when Google Plus was a thing. I was writing
Right.
review on using the Surface for drawing. They were giving beta versions of the pens and the stylus. I think the very first Surface I got was out of my own pocket, and they start sending me like the Surface 3, Surface 2 to test. Then these guys were Sketchables, start reaching out to us, and we were doing all sorts of stuff. Yeah, vector art, right? He does
Nice.
it's fantastic. Give him a follow, everybody. He's a master at this stuff, and he does these wonderful streams where he gives you art tips on if you are young and up and coming kind of stuff, right? It's kind of like what we're doing now, talking about conventions and cons and stuff like that. But he's
Yeah.
more of There you go. There you go. Yeah, yeah. There you go. Sketchable. That's right. I got him into Sketchables at the time. That was a deep rabbit hole that he kind of fell into, like both of us, because I was being sponsored by like these like I don't know, back in the days when I had like hundreds of thousands of followers.
Back
And you
in
know
the
what it
day.
was? It was just me drawing every day. I was just posting stuff. I was drawing every single day, like one picture a day, one picture a day for like years on end, right? That's why I got the verification on YouTube, right? I was just doing all this stuff. And I was doing reviews on Surface laptops and stylus and the different stylus I got into. This is before purchasing like a Cintiq. Cintiq was one of those things that was just priced right out of like most of us right now, right? You know what I mean? Like it cost like an
Yeah.
iPad, and so
I'm
we,
wanting to save up for a Huion.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like this is pre-Huion. This is pre-iPad with You have to remember the iPad back in the day when they first released had a touchscreen but didn't have a stylus, right?
Right.
So we ended up buying these pencil with these capacitive stylus, like sometimes it was Bluetooth, it was called the Bamboo, it was all sorts of stuff. I was doing these testing and I was trying them out, that kind of stuff. Then the Surface kind of prepped up. I was introduced by Microsoft at the time. I
Right.
was a what do you call that back then? It was like Microsoft's evangelical, whatever that term was, right? Like you
Okay.
Right.
were like a Microsoft. Um, oh crap, I forget the term. But you were like one of the Microsoft people that they send you shit, right? And they said,
Okay.
hey, promote us. They were trying to get the Surface with the stylus into play, and they contain a battery. Now it's no battery whatsoever, and it was like designed by Wacom, and I start upgrading it and promoting the Microsoft stuff, and that's where I met. Yeah, evangelist, thank you. Right, that's what we were doing, right? Then this is where I found out about Copic and other mediums and stuff like that. And it's just trying out, and we were just trying, and we're just you know and the Vector Maestro there, he he got his own art style and stuff like that, and he was promoting, and we were back and forth at the time, and we grew our audience that way. And he became a an Adobe evangelist, I guess. He was invited part of the Adobe group, to do these I forget this media, the MX. I don't know if they still have it. It's called MX something, these meetups and stuff like that. It was fantastic, right? Yeah, it was something back in the day. Now Adobe seems to be hated by everybody. Right? This is pre
Yeah.
subscription model, right? But yeah, we ended up doing this kind of stuff. That's how we met back in the day. Adobe Max, there you go. Yeah, streaming, Behance, and all the stuff. Before, yeah, the AI stuff. It was an interesting time. We were growing with industry. We were building a name, right? It's just trying to get out there. And that's how I started getting to convention, because I had thousands of like fan art. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You if you go back the first time when I was doing headshots and stuff like that, my head was all over the place, right? I was trying to get the eye correct. I was trying to get the nose correct. I was trying, you know, I was testing out Sketchable. I was testing out there was this one with the infinite canvas that I was beta tested to. It was, I was trying out new techniques, trying to add, they were always asking for like, hey, give us feedbacks. How would you do this? And I was starting requesting for like lock transparency layer and alpha masking. I was showing them what I was doing, and they were developing the software at the same time. Those kind of time, right? it was an interesting, yeah, the Adobe user meetup groups and all this other stuff.
Well, so I guess we're crediting you for a lot of like
No,
functionality.
don't credit me for any of that stuff. I wasn't. I was just there at the right time. You
Right.
know, and this is when Google Plus was a thing. It was a shame that it died. Then Microsoft launched their own social media stuff for a while. It was like a bunch of pins. It looked like Printus, Pintus
Okay.
kind of thing. I forget what it was called. And MySpace came out. Remember MySpace rebirthed itself again for a while. Uh, right
Yeah,
when
I was
yeah,
on MySpace.
yeah, the rebirth of MySpace. Remember that? I forgot the side scrollers, and I still have an account there somewhere in MySpace.
I
Before,
like I
yeah,
liked all the options it had.
yeah.
Animated backgrounds and
You're giving me too credit there, back. Creative Force.
Honestly, like I've never really used MySpace. Like I'm a late user for any social media.
social media. Yeah, MySpace was really cool. It had like animated backgrounds and sound effects, and you could put
Yeah,
your
yeah.
own little font and kind of make your own little web page.
Those days were.
But I think I attempted to use it, but I was still like not tech savvy back then, so I was getting intimidated on what button to push.
Right. What the hell was this stuff? Yeah, exactly. It was an interesting time when everybody was trying to find their footing uh
Right.
for the social media, but eventually Mark Zuckerberg end up buying these companies, and they start merging into Meta and all this other crazy stuff, and eventually, you buy out the competition, you become the only source of, you know what I mean? Yeah, that was the 2000s, right? The late, I guess, 2006, 2007, around there, that time. So yeah,
Yeah,
it was an interesting time for a lot of us, and we kind of got in, and we start forming. That's how I became uh, where I am, because I was forming this group of like followers and stuff like that, and I was like, okay, well, I got thousands of these prints and photos that are sitting in my hard drive. Might as well just print them out, try to see if I can sell at conventions. And I was trying to find a print shop. I was using a lot of my print shop in the US. This is when shipping was cheap.
Right.
Right? Ordering like, yeah, 8x10s by the hundreds for like $50 or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just with the shipping, with and all this other stuff. It was an interesting time back then, but now things gotten a little more pricey, and the exchange rate and all this other stuff too, right? And that was when I was working as a what do you call it? As a broadcast engineer stuff, right? UX designer for these companies.
Right.
Remember when 3D TV and all this other stuff?
oh yeah,
Remember that? Yeah, I was there for that part, right? Look at where we are now, right? It's all streaming has taken over. That's
yeah.
where a lot of this is.
4K and streaming. Yeah,
Yep, that's pretty much where we are now. Industry has changed a lot.
Well, technology in general as well too, right? Like, and this is why I'm saying, like, yeah, I got comfortable with technology now to the point where, yeah, for my print, that's pretty much how I produce them. You know, I use digital ink or digital color to finish my print, but that's only because, again, it's faster for me to pump out as opposed to doing traditional. Because to be honest, I'm not really like comfortable fully with like drawing with markers or watercolor. And if I
Yeah,
tell,
it takes,
tell you these things, I'm never gonna meet my deadline, or at least my self deadline.
right. It's about like for me, it's always if I put my mind to it, I will get it worked out somehow. That's really what I've learned, right? Any up and coming artist, you really do need to commit and discipline yourself. That's the only recommendation I have. You like you can't just be good at it because you got an iPad and all this other stuff that all the fancy tools. You really need to commit and sit down and
Right.
draw draw draw, right? Even every day I'm learning from everybody, right? So I'm learning from you guys, I'm learning from whoever I can possibly get from. And I think that's what that I think that might be the secret of stuff is, you learn. You have to be able to learn, you have to be able to grow, right? Because I think that's what art is. It's just one of those things where, you know growing is part of the I don't know, the the creative process, right?
For
Right.
sure, for sure. Yeah.
Well, that's how I feel like we. I don't know about you guys, but this is how I feel like I got into or my interest caught on is because just seeing other people draw and getting that inspiration and just getting that motivation, thinking that like one day I want to draw just like that person that I admire, you know. So, as far okay, I think we've asked this question before, but Rad, I just met you, but who's your favorite artist like that you get influenced heavily by?
Um, it was probably a tie between Greg Capullo and Michael Turner.
Nice, good choice. What is it about their artwork that like I guess yeah.
Um, I really, really got into Spawn when Spawn came out, and yeah, I just love Greg Capullo's style, and Michael Turner. Um, yeah, I just fell in love with Witchblade when it came out.
Yeah,
It
he's
just
good with
it hit me right, during puberty age, and fell in love with Witchblade. Yeah, so really like Michael
Well,
Turner's style.
is it the character or is it just the way Michael draws like his character like
Um, and I think just the way he does it, the way he captures spaces, it has like the animation style.
right?
Um, yeah, I just
Okay.
and Fathom when he did Fathom, he did that's when I really kind of respected him a lot, seeing his water work. He did a lot of good work with water and backgrounds, and like he could do more than just characters. Like he was really good with doing buildings and backgrounds and
Yeah,
doing everything really.
I have to admit that one of my favorite Michael Turner book or he series that he did was it was uh oh what it was wet work. It was a combination of wet work and I think it's from a Cyber Force
Oh yeah, I
character.
forgot about Cyberforce. He did
I
that, didn't
forgot
he?
I forgot that.
Yeah, Mark
Uh,
Silvestri, he's also a real big influence.
Yeah, he's
yeah, but
The
yeah, that
Dark Knight.
was one of the books that really like made me like look at Michael Turner's. But it's his Batman and Superman. That's the one that got me really. That pulled me
Oh
in.
yeah, I really like his Supergirl.
Yes.
oh yeah, yeah, the the skinny
Mhm.
girls.
having Batman, or I'm sorry, Superman on the shrunken city of Kandor.
Yes.
Superman had a cool motorcycle.
Yeah. I think I recall that. And then you said like what do you who is it? Greg Capullo. Like you
Yeah.
discovered him to Spawn, you said?
Yeah, I liked him on Spawn. I liked him on Batman. I like all his work. Just I think it's great, and I love the detail he puts in his characters.
Right. What about
He
you,
had a
Rob?
book. He had a book called The Screech.
Hmm.
It was a '90s book. It was a cool book, and yeah. Anyway, I like his work,
So those are your two
but
favorites, Turner and
I would say
Capullo.
that's what I like. Kind of grew up influenced by was them. Turner, Silvestri, they really influenced me growing up. And then I'd say like now I'm really inspired by like painters. I like Perillo and Jay Ferguson. I really like you know puppeteer.
Yep.
Right.
Um, Jay Ferguson does really good airbrush work. I've always wanted to learn how to use an airbrush.
It's 90% of the time you're spent cleaning your airbrush. Just letting you know. That is my experience with airbrush for a long time. That's you got to keep it really clean. I mean, it's constant. You're constantly.
Yeah, that's the only like I tried airbrush as well too before, but I just find the cleaning part tedious.
Yep,
Like
it's
it slows
always
down the
is.
process, you know? Like I don't know about you guys, but when I'm jumping into a piece of artwork, I wanna like attack it. But then if I have to like step aside and clean the thing just so I can get the other color on it, and oh, it's yeah,
Welcome to my world. I only crack open the airbrush when I really need to. But lately, I've been doing a lot of the airbrushing stuff. I stopped using airbrush as a coloring process. I only use airbrush as a effects like glow and little things and stuff like that. I'm trying to cheat that now with just acrylic paint, but it's just one of those things where you kind of it's the cleaning process that kills me all the time because I really need to keep my airbrush clean. I've got 8 airbrush now, and some of them are now I'm ready to throw out. Because what happens is the 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 needles and then the stuff gets bent. You bend that. I mean, a lot of it you can replace, but I have them on hand just for purpose of what happens is that the way the airbrush flow is the needle fits in this area. If you get a backlog of stuff in here, it becomes almost impossible to clean. So you really need to take the whole airbrush apart, the chamber, the inside connecting tubes, and all this other stuff. So yeah, it's a lot of work, right? Just to
A
get
lot of work.
any
Yeah.
clog that you get, right? I mean, I'm constantly cleaning, and I use acrylic, right? So a lot of the acrylic
yeah,
like gets clogged in here. When acrylic dries very fast, right? It starts to become stiff, and you get splatter, and that's the last thing you want is splatter, unless that is the object of your of you know for what you want. A lot of the time when I do splatter now, I just use a toothbrush, right, or a dry brush, and flick it as I need it to. Before, when I'm doing splatter, you usually put something in front of it, right? So these are like the little splatter tools that like you get a bag. It's kind of like rubber. It's this little rubber thing right here.
what is
It
that?
fits
Oh,
directly in front of your airbrush, right? and you flick it, and the paint comes out and hits that, and it splats around the area, right?
Right.
And that's what you do, right? I barely use these. These are still brand new,
Huh.
right? I found it easier just to grab like.
I had some stuff like that for spray paint cans,
Yeah, you do
different
that, right?
tips.
I just found it like here, right? This is the cheapest. I found my old daughter's toothbrush. This is my splatter for a lot of the stuff. This works out really well,
Right.
right?
That's
Because it's
yeah,
such
you
a
just
small.
go to the dollar store and even grab
Yeah,
something.
yeah. This one has pink kitty, no, a pink hippo, a blue bunny, and a yellow kitty. So for anybody out there who you got to get this Colgate kids toothbrush with this pink thing. These are the best splatter object ever, right? As you can tell, see how much black and how much stuff I got in here. This is just me brushing my teeth at night, not just right. And it comes with this suction thing, really, right? And it's perfect. It's like right.
That is funny.
Yeah, it's more of I'm always constantly experimenting and trying out stuff, right?
Yeah, you do that a lot. I see that, and so it's very inspiring to see. Like I'm going like,
Well,
what would Locke do?
yeah, I'm constantly trying stuff out, and that's just me. That's just my thing. I love learning. I love finding. It's always that happy accident. Sometimes you can't like, oh, I just figured that out. This is cool, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? And I see some of that, and I got into a lot of it. Was remember the cosplayers at the cons?
Huh.
If you ever get a chance, right? Even Rad, if you ever go to a convention one day,
Uh-huh.
talk to some of the
Uh-oh.
cosplayers that built their own costumes. Ask them about how they did the metal work, how they do, the foams and the glue and all this other stuff. Those are
Right.
fascinating because they're doing the same thing. They're figuring out how to cover up, the neoprene surfaces. Because if you use a regular spray paint can on it, the paint is almost corrosive. It eats away at the plastic, right? So these guys come up with these all sorts of ways to cover it and coat it and the whole bit. So yeah, it's an interesting like, what do you call
Uh,
it? Yeah, like universe, I guess.
technique.
Yeah, right. That's how I learned how to do like texture works and stuff like that. It's like, oh yeah, because he's applying the white afterwards because it's more of a peg based pigment colors, or they get because I'm looking at buying silver paint for the nails. Have you seen those? They're almost like
Yes.
they're almost chrome, right? They're like this when you apply it. So I had this idea of actually creating, like, if I'm doing a sketch card, right? And it requires like silver or chrome area. I was literally gonna paint on that and see and how will it sit on the paper, because a little tube of like a little jar of that is like $3-4. You know what I mean? It's kind of like those remember those chrome markers that we get that bleeds everywhere,
Right. Oh, yes. I remember.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm thinking of picking up some of those and trying them out again and the whole bit, right? Because I literally a buddy of mine in California sent me these,
Oh,
right?
wow.
Yeah. So that's my next step, is to see if I can get these to work, because he does it for his sketch cards and the whole bit, right? Their
Right.
company's called Tuli Art, right? So he gets these from these guys sponsored him, so they sent him. So he sent me a box to
Oh,
try out,
nice.
right? So yeah, it's one of those where I'm gonna try it out. I'm gonna try to see. Um, I'm gonna draw on plastic and film and stuff like that. So that's my next thing, right? Is um my next thing is, I know I'm all over the place sometimes, but my next thing is, remember the overhead projectors?
Yes.
right? So for you young kids back then, when I went to school, we used to have teachers who would have these overhead sheets, and they would run it through a copier machine, and they would put it over, this big, huge light box that giant on a projector on the screen, and that's how you did slideshows back in the days. Well, I remember doing some of that and painting on it. So I bought myself a transparent film stuff. So one of the covers that I did for Niobe Outbreak,
Uh,
because I did the line work, I didn't do the color work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to print the characters on black and white on this transparent inkjet printable sheet here, right?
right.
So that's my thing is I'm going to print the characters on there. So I'm going to make as if it was like animated cell film. Remember the animations cells?
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what this is for. The acrylic paint is I'm going to see if that will stick properly on that, or do I have to do some sort of treatment of the surface, right?
Right.
I want to see what happens if the material, does it dry, does it crack, does it, that is my next experiment, right? Do I have to coat it with a fixative? Do I have to do all sorts of little things and stuff like that? So
Right.
I'm constantly like, this is one of those things where this is for fun than anything else, right? Like I'm not gonna be doing this to sell at a convention.
This is just for your own
Just for the
educational.
giggle, right?
Yeah.
Because I seen. Have you seen the remarks on the Funko Pop box?
Yes.
Yeah. So I've seen that. So those guys are using acrylic markers on them, but I noticed they tend to crack afterwards.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I saw a few of them, but I don't know if that's just because they didn't put a coating on it or something. And I'm gonna try to draw on plastic. Right? How do I draw on plastic? Right? Do I literally have to draw on a piece of paper, put the plastic on, and go over top? You know what I mean? Like retrace it,
Right.
get a clean line, right? That was one of the technique. Then I found that I can run it through a printer, right?
Right.
So I can take. My thing was I can take like your line work, for example,
Hmm.
print it, right? Your black and white, print it, and maybe
Right.
do a color watercolor wash on the back of that and lay it on top. You know what I mean? And
Right.
see what
Right.
you know what I mean? Like the technique you were doing, right? But for
Yeah.
me, I want to do cell animation kind of stuff. That looks great,
Right.
Arnold. That turned
Right.
out really nice. Turned out
Thank
really
you.
nice.
Yeah. Well, thank you for something that I just didn't know what to draw tonight. I went, okay, you know what? I've never drawn Omni Man.
Yeah.
Right.
That looks
Thank you.
awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, see? Knows how to do that. And where are we at? There you go. Look at that. You're starting to ink, huh?
Going
Yeah.
to ink.
Yeah. There you go.
Looks
That looks
great.
great.
Yeah. Uh, as far as inking, do you like to ink with pen or do you use brush as well too, Brad?
I'll use everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll use the Sumi ink. Use a quill tip. Use brush. Whatever I like to use.
What's your favorite, Brad?
I like quill tip. I like using the quill tips. I don't know. I like brushes too. Brushes are always good to use too.
Yeah, Goblin Grim says there's plastic paper that you can use for the inkjets and stuff like that. Yeah, I bought I bought the inkjet printable black and white. So I'm gonna take one of the covers that I've done digitally, the line works, the ink work, because it was colored by a colorist for a cover, and I want to take that, print that out, in different layers the characters, and I'm gonna see if I can do some techniques where I can apply a fixative on the back of the film and
Yeah.
see how acrylic holds on. Does acrylic glass, those kind of stuff. Then I have acrylic markers. I'm gonna try that. How
Yeah.
much paint do I need to try to give a smooth, like a cell-like look? And if I were to do like different tonal shading, can I paint on that? Because again, like it's all about will that smear or will it not smear? That's really when it comes down to that kind of stuff. For me,
Right.
it's always been experimenting with mediums, what kind of effects I can get, right? I mean, I went through this phase of doing cutouts, like when I saw Lou does his stuff, right?
Right.
He does the cardboard cutouts and stuff like that,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Right. I mean, he took a bunch of my stuff. I gave him a bunch of my prints, and he cut it out. I mean, it's like it looked great when he did it. Right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
It definitely looked different when he did the cutout.
yeah,
Uh,
right.
yeah.
So now, I did the cutouts for some of the covers that I love that I will never be able to hold in my hand. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
Action
Right.
Comic #1, the Bicentennial War with Captain America and all this other stuff, right? So I figured I might as well try it out and have a little bit of craft time out of it, right? And do
Right.
this little things, right?
Yeah.
That's what makes it fun.
I, I have a question, Locke.
Hmm.
So when you go back to the convention scene, are you bringing any original pencil work with you to sell?
I don't know if I'm gonna bring pencil work. I mean, I'm gonna bring the original paintings if I'm gonna try to see if I can sell them if anybody's interested. Right? I find Niagara Falls to be an art collector's
Yeah.
thing where the money is there for the big stuff. If I sell one or two, I made table. Period. That's it.
Right.
Right?
Of
If I
course. Yeah.
sell four, that's just paid for hotels and everything else. You know what I mean?
Right.
If people are willing to cough up $200 or $300, I mean, I'll bring the Hellboy, but the Hellboy is I'm not letting go for at
Yeah.
least
That
four
one
hundred
looks. Yeah.
bucks,
That piece looks awesome, man.
right? But that's I'm not letting go of that one, and at least it's $400 or so, right? 400
Right.
$500 or something like that. But I'm also bringing that cover for Bleecker, right? So I want to
Right.
hand that to him, and you can see the pigments and stuff. The painting stuff I always love. I always like doing traditional media stuff. I'll bring
Right.
that. I'll bring a stack of sketch that I've done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll bring more original art. My thing was I don't have any new prints, from 2 3 years ago. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't plan to make any more prints. The problem is my prints are I got to print in 100. You know what I mean? And 11 by 17 and the weight and the whole bit. I'm just trying to liquidate as much as I can of my
Right.
prints. And I'll stick to these original sketch cards kind of things,
Right.
right? With the case and the stuff. I'll bring like this Sunday remember the trauma the Toronto comic show, the TSB or something like that. Um, the one that they usually have these little vendor shows. They're having a card show on
Right.
Sunday, and I'm gonna go in, and they're gonna have the PSA guys there. The
Okay.
grading companies. I'm gonna bring some of my original that I did for Upper Deck, and even though the card hasn't been released, I'm gonna see if I can get them graded. Right?
Right.
I don't know if they'll grade that because it's not released, right? Because the project got canceled, and how would that work, right?
Right.
Like I did these. These are in my own case, but these are the collectibles, right? They've never
Yeah.
got released. The project was canceled, so I'm gonna bring
Understood.
these in and see if I can get them. If they officially can grade them, right? I don't know how much they're going to cost. First of all, I got to find out how much they cost, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
I can get a few of these graded. I mean, I think I can get rid of them for $300-400. right?
Right.
For the true collectors. But these are like hardcore collectors, right?
Right.
Like I would never, like I'm not a card collector myself, right? But I know like if I were to collect them, I would draw them in a certain way, make them all something that somebody wants. That's really what this is, right?
I'm gonna take off, Locke.
Oh
I
yeah,
gotta get
thanks.
ready for work.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for dropping in, Rod. Have a good one,
Yeah,
buddy.
thanks.
Yeah.
Have a
Thanks a
good
lot.
Are
night.
you doing any other show coming up, or are you gonna?
No, I'll just be at a church with Bleecker,
Yeah. Okay. We'll see you
hanging out with
Saturday
those
then.
guys. Okay,
Yeah. Take it easy, buddy. Thanks
bye,
for jumping
Arnold.
in.
Thank you, man.
Bye.
Bye.
So yeah.
Yeah. The reason why I asked is like I know for me, it's like I definitely need to start bringing, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier, where my my regulars are starting to ask for original artworks now.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, yeah, if that's something that's also on your table that you put. 'Cause-
I'm sticking to original. My prints is basically if I can sell it, that's great, right? If I can't sell it, then you know I'm stuck with them, right? I'm
right.
eventually I'm gonna bring them to Free Comic Book Day and just give them to Carlos to give out or raffle off or something like that. Or when we do the next
Yeah. Speaking of
those.
that, are you doing any like? Is there a show or sorry? There's a store that you'll be doing free comic book day.
I haven't been reaching out to anybody. No, I haven't done yet. I was thinking of hitting up Big B, or if when is Free Comic Book Day? Isn't that today?
In May.
Oh, is it May? No, that's May 5th, right? Or May 4th?
Yeah,
Or
I think they always have it the first week.
yeah, I can't. I'm on vacation.
Ah,
Family reunion. All of us are meeting down in in Miami, Florida.
oh wow,
Yeah, all 30 something us,
no
including
way.
kids, grandkids, the grandparents, and all the grandparents, and
Yeah.
the whole bit. It's an expensive trip, right? It's a family on my side of the family, my wife's side, my my brother-in-law's well, his wife's mom and dads are coming too, so there'll be like 6 or 8 senior gonna be with us, right?
Wow.
Than 20 something grandkids or something like that. Something
Good.
stupid. Yeah. It's massive. It's massive. The Nguyen Lo uh Do Tran family.
The Do Re Mi
Dude,
Fa Sol La Ti Do family. I don't know.
yeah, you got it right. The it's it's yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. No. I know. For me. Pardon the pun, but like I got locked already for yeah a store appearance. I'll be at Freak Show.
Freak Show. Is where's Freak Show? Freak
So
Show is.
that's the Freak Show comic book store. It's in Niagara Falls.
Oh yeah. Oh right. Isn't that by what's his name there? Oh shoot, didn't we
It,
meet
it,
him at?
it's along Lundy's Lane. I don't know if people are familiar with like
I know
Niagara.
Lundy Lane. That's where the hotels I always booked. And is Freak
Yeah.
Show's on Lundy Lane? Freak Show's on Lundy Lane.
It's not Lundy's Lane, but I think Lundy's Lane. I'm trying to remember if it.
That's not near
I believe
the.
the street name changes after you reach a certain intersection.
Yeah, on Lundy Lane, right? You go further
Yeah.
back, right?
So you initially, well, the reason why I said Lundy's Lane because like my uncle lived in Niagara Falls, so I'm coming from his place, which is
Right.
on Lundy's Lane. So as I'm traveling towards Niagara Falls, to hit to hit Freak Show, the street name changes when I cross a certain intersection. I forgot what that intersection is called, but like anyway. So I'll be there with Oliver and Mikey.
Nice.
So we were all invited, which is really nice by the store owner. Um, mind you, my local comic book store is Gotham. So when I told Carlos that
Oh,
I
I
definitely
know
got the
Carlos'
guilt trip.
response.
I definitely got the guilt trip. I was definitely the Benedict Arnold. Uh,
But dum bump.
but I told him, I go, hey guy, Carlos again. He's very supportive with the creative community, and
Yeah,
he's very supportive with my work. I know he's just joking around, but like at the same time, again, it's nice to be associated with these other stores because you want to support as many stores as well too because that's what the community is for, right? Like you're
yeah, yeah,
supporting each other. It's not just Gotham. There's mostly comics. There's Freak Show. There's, like you said, Big B. You
yeah.
know, uh,
Yeah, I'm gonna be on vacation
right?
that time. That's probably why I didn't respond to some of that stuff, right? Oh, that reminds me, I gotta respond to John's email from True North Country Comic there. Luxury Creative, yeah, I call it
What is it? Sorry.
the Mickey Mouse stuff.
Oh, well, that's pretty cool.
I can't do Goofy because Goofy is not part of public domain. So these characters of Mickey's are it's a public domain card set that's being released right now by Masterpiece Card. Um, that is being so they asked me to do. I designed the box and I helped cleaned up the cards for the refractors, the character cutouts, and all this other stuff. So I did the box design for them. Then there's another set that's coming out, Winnie the Pooh. That is also public domain. Do I have it? I did the design for that too. So yeah, there's a lot of going on right now for. So we got here's Winnie the Pooh. So anything with public
Right.
domain is now going to be subject to sketch cards and series and stuff like that. These I can show because I'm kind of working with the company. The idea is to promote them. They are a new card company.
So, are those Mickey Mouse? Yeah, they're based on Marvel characters. I noticed.
Yeah, yeah. You can pretty much because they're public domain kind of thing, right? So they are fan art. They're one of ones.
Right.
They are not like I can't. The thing is we cannot reproduce these and sell them, right? But if they are one of one on a card that says public domain, you kind of get away with it because they are parody,
Right.
right?
Okay, that's how that
So
works.
they fit. There's a set of lawyers behind these that I was like, "Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure?" kind of thing, right?
Well, yeah, especially Disney. I hear they're very stickler.
Yeah, they are very very sticklers. They're very sticklers. And
Like,
these guys, the set, they're not making $1 million out of these. I think there's only uh 80 boxes or 90 boxes of these only available, so it's a limited run, right? Kind of
right,
stuff. So there's a whole bunch of sketch artists and stuff like that. I managed to wrangle what's his name into it. If you're interested in doing some of this stuff, you let me know. I'll add you to the list. Uh, Oliver is doing some, I believe. I don't know if they contacted him or not, but I suggested to Oliver. Oliver would be part of it too, right?
right,
So
right,
it's a good set. There's no well, there's hard deadlines and stuff like that, but the next set will be um, the Winnie the Pooh, and again, you can do whatever you want with that.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Um, it's just fun. So the outlines, the cutouts and stuff. So the collector sets themselves will be um, very Winnie the Pooh-ish, but the
Right.
backgrounds will be like chrome red, blue, chrome red, refractors, broken glass, those things kind of stuff, right? So for those people who are collect them, they're going to be like that. They're like the Marvel trading cards with all the special effects and stuff like that on them, right? Yeah, which kind of sucks because right now I'm looking for actually the next show we're gonna go through. I'm gonna try to see if I can get one or two cards. If I can get them for $5 a card, then I'll just bite the bullet and just buy like a reflective one that says, "Hey, I drew for this set."
Do you find that, like, I guess dropping companies help style your work? Like, say for example, I know, like, people use, yeah, hey, I do for Marvel, I do for DC. Do you it, do you find that gives you some sort of, like, well, people go, oh my gosh, like, if you drop for Marvel DC, like, I definitely would love to collect that, right?
It's a weird kind of it's a weird kind of market for that kind of what do you call it? It, it's a weird kind of market. Let's see if I can copy this. Here, I'm gonna post it in here. Here, Christine. These are the masterpiece guys. There we go. That's their Instagram. Um, you might need to contact Stefan. He's part of the list there. Just DM directly. Um, that's the first set. I don't know the official release date, but I did the box design. They're looking at the box design. I've seen the preliminary prints, and they look fantastic. Of the because these are I don't know they're 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 refractors. The cards themselves have this on the back of not these designs, but it will be like public domain Mickey Mouse and its haunted house, and there's like three of them, and each one will have a one of certain types. So there'll be like maybe 20 pinks and 50 blues, and those are these are huge card collectors. I don't know the I know that the combinations, but then there'll be I don't know how many sketch there are. I'm just filling in for what I can. I'm gonna try to punch out these and have it sent by the end of the week, so the guys can actually put them in the set and have them released. I think by next week or something. So that's the thing. But yeah, going back to your question about um, like do these company push me kind of thing, or
Or yeah, does it help with your sales or the interest in your artwork when?
well, here's the thing. The thing that helps with sales is the collector market for the Marvel set. My name is part of the Marvel set database that they have for these collectors, right?
Right.
So so I'm getting more of like I can now say official artist for Upper Deck and Tops, right? And
Right.
I draw Star Wars, I draw this. That helps me with my artist card sales,
Ah, okay.
right? The collectors who gets the original one of one out of that series is I notice they are more of flippers. They if they pull it, they tend to try to make money out of it because they're already spending $300 on a box, right?
Right.
Right? If they get a 101, an autograph, these they call them like hits and all these terms I'm learning, right? Is they try to flip that and get they try to get these these sets for them, right? And yeah, it's an interesting because I have rare items that I drew for, right? These are not release items. I'm just trying to see, like, because I only got paid like $25 a card. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
But on the eBay market, I've seen these cards go for $400, right?
Wow.
They're probably more because this is a cancel set. This is not a release set, right? So I have the sketch cards, right? I'm just waiting for permission to say, hey, can I start selling these? Because what I'm going to do is, if I can start selling these, I might sell it more if I take them out of my case and actually give it to PSA. PSA will
Yeah.
grade it, right? But I don't know how they grade it. It's not like comic books where if I send my own book in to get graded, I get a yellow label, right? A yellow label means it comes like an autograph piece, right?
Right.
So I don't know how PSA grades their card, right? Or is generic. It doesn't matter who it comes from, right? I pay for the grading, then I can turn around and say, look, this is because what I want is that marking that says this is a canceled set. Set has never released in the market. And what
Right.
that does, it drives the price up, right? At least I can get, I can pay for the, if I can sell two of these for, or three of these to make $1,500, at least I get just paid for my car services, a new muffler, a new alternator, a new, like, that's really what this is, right? it's not like I'm gonna go out and spend on a new laptop. It's all like I gotta pay rent, I got mortgage, I gotta pay art supplies, I got
you got family feed, man.
yeah, right, like, right, just doing these cards are right. Like, you know I only get like 10-15 bucks for these because these are first time they're doing the card sets, right? They don't have the money to pay artists $50 a card or $80 a card, right?
Right.
But the lighting on this is horrible on my thing. But if you see, if I tilt it a little bit off light, you can actually see all the tones, right?
Yeah.
There's a massive amount of like, so it looks like it's all washed up, but once I still tilt it, you can actually see these little subtle tones on the card, right? So even just things like, there's like subtleties in the cards itself. They're fun to do. These don't. They're more of coming up with. I think the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna do like, what am I gonna do with these? Something with Mickey Mouse that'd be fun. Like I want to do. Maybe I'll do some Evil Dead, you know, with it, right? Because you can get away with all this stuff. I just figured out the easiest thing is I've been drawing Marvel and DC for a while, so might as well just do a couple of these. Then the rest, I'm probably gonna do like some oddball stuff, right? Mickey Mouse as Ash, with the hands and the chainsaw, right? The other one was I was thinking of
Right.
doing like Mickey Mouse as Chainsaw Man.
Well,
Right?
again, as, as somebody who's been drawing fan art or their favorite characters since, you can definitely, and you have the capability, you can definitely go in a lot of directions, right? And that's why I feel blessed with like having the skill and talent to do what I can do, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's I don't know. Like people always says you're very talented. You're very talented,
right,
but I'm thinking I don't know if it's talent or it's a lot of hard work. Um, like you, I, and any artist, even Rad and all that stuff. We've been we've been honing our crafts, right? I
right,
think anybody who sits down and commits to drawing, it doesn't matter if you don't know your anatomy and stuff like that, 'cause you draw. And the 10,000 hours is what I believe in. If you draw, you develop that skill. You develop that muscle memory, right?
right,
If you start painting and the painting's horrible but you don't give up, you just keep going at it, right? You become expert at that craft, right? Like I look at cosplayers, even though people see them as cosplayer, I see them as artists because these guys gotta, you know, the one that build their own costumes, right? They
Right.
are they're learning to paint. They're painters. They're learning to be a crafts person. They're learning to be a seamstress. You know what I mean? They're learning all this craft, right? And that's what I see them as. Is I admire them because that's one of those things where I don't know if I can sit down and sew, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I got to collect all the materials. I got to collect, I
Well,
got to.
yeah. I've watched some of them create their costume, and then they've gone as far as like whereas us, okay, want to go digital, we use the Wacom tablet or whatever
Yep.
digital tool that we use, right? When it comes to them, and one thing I admire is like, yeah, you're talking about like they're seamstress, they're craft people, and they learn how to. But as far as technology on their side, I noticed that they're using like 3D printers
Yep.
to create some of the, I guess whatever um, part of their costume that needs to be
Yep.
created.
And
So
now they're
people are
learning a whole
quite
new skill sets, right? That's
yeah,
that's that's what I admire about that is any artists, right? Even for you when you're doing this stuff and you're learning what's that software? Escape Motions what's
yeah,
that?
rebel.
Yeah, Rebel, right? And I see that it's like, yeah, I have that software too, but I don't want to sit down and learn a whole traditional media, paint and all that stuff. And right,
Yeah,
I'll stick to what I know. And I like doing what I like doing. And you got your skill, and I'm seeing you grow from where you start out with just black and white. You remember that? Just black and
yep,
white. Now
yep,
you're very comfortable with color, digital color, right? And you got that look, and you have that look. You got the style, right?
yeah,
Before you were just trying all over the place. I noticed that too. But now
exactly.
you
No,
have
thank
your own
you.
unique look and style, and that's
Yeah,
great. I mean, I think all artists are looking into that. The younger ones are always looking for their style, but I think a lot of it is developed over time. Your style will come to you. Just don't, you know what I mean? Don't what's the term? Like um like anybody artist out there, if you're looking for a certain style, there's nothing wrong with copying another artist.
no,
It's a great honor if somebody start copying the way I draw or copying the way Arnold draws and Rad and all these artists, because what that is it's teaching you, like when I first started, you remember we were just tracing out of the comic books themselves, right? We were trying to figure out, okay, how to do anatomy, how to do the hands, how to do poses, how to do, you know what I mean? We're just like, if I see a piece of artwork and I'm like, wow, let's see if I can recreate that, right? And this is where I come in and go, okay, so my technical brain comes in and go, okay, why did he create it that way? How did he come up with that? It's like, oh man, if I mix this color with this color, that creates this tone. And he did this first. He did this underlining hue, and this all this other stuff comes to play. And it's part of learning. And as you develop it, you combine this style, this technique, and you form your own style eventually. And I think that's how things work, right?
right. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of dragged on there for a bit, but yeah.
Okay. I'd like to think that we're sharing some information to the viewers, however much or how many are watching right now, or even if they watch this later on. But like these are definitely information that
I should do that.
I would have loved to have learned back then, right?
Yeah, I mean it's that's why I kind of like having Ollie on, or any artist that comes on, even Mike Ruth. And when I see him painting, I'm like, man, I want to paint like that, right? When he does Swamp Thing, right? He just does Swamp Thing. When he does Swamp Thing, you
Yeah,
can tell it's his Swamp Thing. You know what I mean?
right. Well, it's funny because like I'm actually gonna try my version of Swamp Thing. That's on my to do list for my show, and I want to see how well that will move for me. But like, yeah, when Mike does it, I'm going like, yeah, again, you get inspired by different
Yeah.
artists, and then so yeah, I would definitely love to tackle that character
Yeah,
which is
yeah. Like
I
my
know
my
another
next,
good character that he like. Hmm.
yeah,
I,
like
I was
my,
gonna say another good character that he nailed are Conan and the Thing. So
yep. He's been doing a lot of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles too, right?
well, I
And the
think
sketch
that's
cover.
because like he's got yeah people are or like companies are asking him to do variant covers for it, right? So
Yep, yep. Which is nice. Which is nice. That's good for him. That's good for him, right? He's the reason why I got into Canada Post in the first place. He was the one that told me to, right?
oh really?
Well, I was
Wow.
looking around, like, what can I do to find fill-in jobs and stuff like that, finish half days and stuff like that. That's why I got into it, right? Kind of got tired of working the tech job and stuff, right? I was doing what you were doing. It was long hours, man. Freaking long hours, especially when you're in management, right? Right? I can't handle it anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I've been in that part of the business for too long, I guess, right? So I kind of like what I do, and that is because me and the mailbox and the parcels, right? I'm my own
yeah.
guy. I don't really like, my brain shuts off. You know what I mean? like I don't think, right? I don't need to worry about meetings and stuff. I just got to make sure the address and the street and the house number is correct. That's it, right? At
Yeah.
home,
Well, you're lucky that way. Yeah, the nature of my job, and this is why I enjoy going to the cons because it definitely puts me in a happy place. Like, yeah, don't get
yes,
me wrong, my job is great, but it requires definitely a lot of like problem solving
yeah,
and doing problem solving, doing your job definitely takes a lot of like energy, like mental energy away from you, right?
yeah, yeah,
And
and you,
I'm
and the
saying,
con is
not that I'm
basically our, yeah,
not that I'm complaining about my job, but like sometimes it's like since you can work from home, it's like I still have the capability to turn on my laptop and keep on working. But I've learned like I had to stop, especially during COVID. It's like, yeah, you would think that like, oh yeah, I'm working from home and I can shut down, but like during COVID time, like I'm working longer hours than I would normally do if I was working in the office. I find that if I work in the office, at least I know that I need to catch my train. So I'm
yeah,
shutting down now. you know.
yeah.
Uh,
It's
again, I'm not complaining. It's like I feel blessed that like I have I have I have security as far as like where
yeah,
my when my next pay when I'm gonna get paid next.
yep. That's nice to have. That, I mean, that's the security of that is nice to have, right? Like, all of us wants job security. I mean, any of the comic book artists out there, the problem with this work for hire business is that you don't have time off. If like, I'm committed to like 50 sketch cards, right? From
Right.
Tufts. I'm committed to this. Even though it's due the 15th, right? I'm on vacation of the week of the 15th. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I have to literally get this done in 3 weeks, all 50 cards, right? There's no time off for me, right? There's no slacking off kind of stuff. I signed the contract. I'm committed to it, right? $15 a card. I got to get them all done, right? Got to punch it out the whole bit. The more that I get approved, the guidelines that they give me, I got to stick with it. And I know the guidelines, then that's another paycheck, because otherwise I don't get a paycheck. You know what I mean? And that's the thing, right? There's no time off. If I'm on vacation, I still got to submit it before vacation time, right? That's the same thing with any comic book artist per page, right? So if Marvel hires you or Image hires you, they said, okay, well, you got a 20 page to commit. This is the deadline. You need to
Yeah.
finish it, right? Doesn't matter what hour of day and all that stuff. But yeah, having a security, that's what I do with Canada Post. I'm a postal service. Anybody's interested and find out. Um, so that's why I pick the smaller route. the route that I can get done in half a day, right? And it doesn't pay as much, but I don't like I'm not stressed out anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I I get rain, snow, sleet, whatever. I'm out there, right? I'm out in all weather, right? And that's what it is. And I come back and I see you guys and I do this. This is my off time. This is where I don't do a lot of thinking when I'm drawing. By the way,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's what we do the cons for. And that's what I like going to these cons to see fellow artists, fellow creators, and stuff like that. I like, what is it? It's a, we all suffer together.
Well, you know what? I don't want to. I don't want to say. Well, I don't want to. I don't want to put a negative spin on that. But and I know you're not. But anyway, what I'm saying that I don't really see it as a negative for me. Like again, I enjoy going to the cons. Suffering wise, um, I don't know. I can't really see anything suffering, well, except for the fact that all the effort that you're putting to to do the show. Like as far as like getting materials like artwork done, getting print done, and then the setup, and then the teardown, and the driving, and all this. Those are
Yeah.
probably the only suffering I can see happening, but I kind of overlook that because it's part of the process, right?
Yeah, there is that part. Yes, there is that part, the stressing out part, the finding the hotel, the finding the parking, the unknown part. Then you know, the the day of the show, you're freaking out, the door's opening, are you gonna get this? So anybody who's still with us, right? We're no, I'm not gonna be at Heroes. I would love to show up at Heroes. Maybe next year. It's kind of really late for me to try to book a flight down to North Carolina and all that stuff. Yeah, yeah, it would be great. I would love to do Heroes Con. If anything, I would love to do it if I was a special guest or something. I'm gonna try to see if I can apply for that. Maybe next year or something like that. That'd be nice to table at. Maybe I'll get uh, I don't know, something. Anyways, we'll figure it out. But yeah, Christina's asking. Yeah, she's gonna be down at Heroes Con, so that's kind of cool, right? So Heroes Con is a big. You heard about it, right, Arnold?
You know what? When you guys first mentioned Heroes Con, or like I think all I heard was Heroes because I was like a little bit focused on my drawing earlier on.
Yeah,
I thought you were
Heroes
talking about
Con
Heroes
is
Con
North
store,
Carolina.
and I thought I go, oh, that's not that far from us.
Yeah,
But you're talking
uh,
about North Carolina. Okay.
yeah, it's down in North Carolina. I knew it was Carolina. I thought it was Connecticut, but it was North Carolina. That's like an it's a day driving for us though, right? I mean, you did you do Steel City or Nickel? I forget, Nickel or Steel or something like that.
Nickel City. Nickel City. Yes, I did. So that's just crossing a hop away, like a border away, right?
Yeah, you crossed the border. How was that? Was that pretty good?
Sorry, you got cut off a little bit there.
Oh, how was Nickel? Nickel. That's in Buffalo. For anybody who
Nickel City was,
doesn't know. Yeah.
yeah, that's the one in Buffalo, and it's run by the same people that runs Niagara Falls Comic Con because I believe they bought it off the previous owner. But they do an amazing job. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I attended Nickel City when it was owned by that other, I guess, organizer, and this is my only, like, my first impression with that. Like, it was fairly quiet, mind you. I wasn't tabling. Was I tabling? Because I know I was with Ollie, and Ollie was there. But I noticed that it was a little bit quiet.
Okay.
So I never really considered tabling it. I just go, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna be here to kind of like walk around. But
Right.
I took a chance with the people from that organized the Niagara Falls, kind of like nudged me and asked me to try it. I said, okay, you know what? For you guys, I'll try it. Because, they've always been great with me, and whether it was successful or not, what, I'm there to support them as well too. So I tried it, and lo and behold, honestly, they did an amazing job, and I feel like, yeah, like I did so well
Yeah.
that I rebooked. Right? Actually,
That's
last
cool.
year was my first time, so I did their first show, and then they did another show the same year, and yeah. Now here's the thing: I was supposed to go again this year, but with all the politics happening across the border,
Yeah.
I kind of put a stop to it.
Right.
I
Yeah.
told them, I go like, you know what? I don't want to. I don't want to chance it. Like I don't want to like be part of
Yeah.
all
Get
that
in trouble. Pretty
drama,
much. Yeah. You don't want to get in
right?
trouble.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so they were nice enough to say, you know what, that's cool. We're cool with it. Because I told them
Yeah.
I already paid for it, but
Yeah.
I told them I go
The
like,
I feel that the reason why Nickel is a little quieter is because Niagara Falls is everybody comes across.
right,
Because Niagara Falls is the big one that everybody comes across for. Uh, a lot of the people remember every time Niagara Falls is in the summer, people drive across the border from Buffalo up, and a lot of Americans they spend right, and I feel that is the better of the two, and I think that's what people save up for Niagara Falls. Anybody from across Buffalo, New York area will drive up to Niagara Falls because the American dollars is a lot higher. You get more bangs for the buck, and you get vacation time across the border too. So, which is kind of nice, right?
right.
I think that's what people save up for. That's why Nickel. When is Nickel? Anyways, Nickel is.
Nico was, I think, supposed to be in June or something like that. Yeah,
Is
in
it
June
is it after Niagara Falls or before Niagara Falls?
after.
Is it after? Maybe that's why. I think
Yeah,
people came across the border just to spend. Then it's afterwards, right? That's the kind of stuff. But yeah, like eventually I want to be able to friend of mine keep asking me to come down to Anaheim for the Anaheim conventions, Comic-Con and San Diego, which I would love to table one day, right?
right.
Um that's just like that's too expensive. I would love just to go down as a guest or something like that. I remember living down there and just going to
Yeah,
Comic-Con every year until they start having Hall H. The celebrities showed up and price just got out of whack by that time, and I just kind of stopped going because when price
yeah.
goes to 50, $60 for a
Well,
day on the weekend, yeah, right.
I can
That was
definitely see
stupid.
you. I can definitely see you being invited as a pro because you have enough credential. I think
Sorry.
you have enough credential, especially with your cards. That you're a pro. You're a pro artist. You can be
Yeah, I
considered a
know,
pro.
but I mean, it's
And
I don't know if I've
no,
I've gone that far.
that's the prerequisite for a lot of these like pro table spots. Is that
Yeah,
you have to obviously have some sort of work, and that's why it's
yeah,
called pro table, right?
yeah, but
Um,
sometimes we're always like, like, am I good enough? Am I good enough? Am I
yeah.
good enough? You know what I mean?
Well,
Like I
yeah.
look at
Well,
Mike's.
you know you're good enough, and if people
Yeah,
know that you're good enough, they see the quality of your work. You're getting a lot of sales from your work. But hey, who knows? I can also see some of these like shows, not all of them, but few of them. They'll just bring in their friends, and
yeah.
give it the pro.
I know that too. I'm like,
Anyway,
oh, Why is he there?
Yeah. Oh, I went to the concert with them. That's why. Anyway, but going
Yeah.
back to the other, like, you can tell. You know what I'd love to see, and actually, there's only one convention that I've seen them do it. London Comic Con.
I will go back to that one. I will go
Yeah,
back to that one. I have
one
to email the organizer. When
one
is
thing
that?
I love
That's
about
September,
London
right?
Comic Con, again, they have their pro tables, you know, spots,
Yep.
but I love that they give amateur artists like myself and other artists, not just me, the the opportunity to sit among the pro people. So it would be nice to see that like little generosity from other cons to kind of like hype up other artists that have the potential to also sit in those
Oh yeah,
spots.
I keep forgetting to ask you guys. How was it for you guys? Remember that year I gave my spot because I was brought up to the pro section or whatever the highlight section. I gave it to Mike. And how did you guys do? Did you guys do okay or what?
Oh yeah, um, I did really well. And okay, here's the funny thing though, and not to toot my own horn, but like I felt like hey, it was a great show. Don't get me wrong, but I felt like my sales was just as good as I when I was in the regular spot, like downstairs. So
Yeah,
in
good.
London Comic Con, there's two floors. So the second floor is where they have the pro table, right?
Yep.
And then at the first floor, it's where they have their official artist alley or artist
Right.
room. So when I first did London, I was in that artist room, and I did really well. That's why I came back, and it was just so surprising for me that the following year when I applied again, the organizer contacted me and goes like, "Hey, we want to give you the opportunity to sit upstairs with the rest of the pro. Was that something that I would be interested in?" And I said, "Yeah." you know,
Yeah.
like he's like, we've already said like, I'm no pro, but like being given that opportunity and being given the spotlight to kind of like, yeah, it's it's kind of, I don't know, it feels good. It's like you can do just as well as some of the pro tables. It's just that you don't have the or pro artist, but you just don't have the credential,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
I that was the year that Kevin Eastman was going to be there, correct?
Nope. Well, yes and yes, but the year before that, they all like 2 years in a row they brought me upstairs.
Yep. That's great.
So what I'm saying is that like, yeah, I guess what I'm saying is that like, yeah, they're they're very generous with me so
Yeah.
far. I don't know if they're
Yeah,
gonna
I
do it
mean, yeah,
this year,
your work shows it, so
but
that's what counts.
no, I appreciate it. But I don't know if they're gonna do the same thing this year. But regardless, that show is really good enough, whether you're upstairs or downstairs, that they do bring in the people. So to answer your question, I guess directly, um, for me it didn't really matter. It was nice to be upstairs, you know to be among again the professionals. But sales wise, I did well on both floors.
Nice, nice, nice. So yeah, I gotta remind myself to email them. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow, uh, and see if I can get back on the con circuit for that stuff. I need to book hotels in that spot. It's a 3 day thing again, right? Or is it 2 days?
I believe it's like two 2 days again, or
I think it's Saturday. Yeah, I think it's Saturday and
days,
Sundays.
yeah.
Friday setup. So I'll definitely go up Friday night Probably book hotel Friday night and check out Sunday morning, I guess, 2 nights, um, or something, or a B&B somewhere outside of town instead of downtown, kind of stuff. Because I think
Right.
downtown, the RBC Center, it's like I'm looking at over $100 a night or something like that, right? I might have to camp out with
Right.
the uh, the dead bodies and stuff like that in the fields, right? So that's where they store all the dead bodies and stuff for cheap. Anyways,
Not for the morgue.
yeah, the morgue. Yeah, there you go. The morgue. Sleep in the car, kind of thing, right? Go downtown, sleep on the grills. They're warmer around the grades and stuff like that until the cops kick me out or something, right? Hey man, I'm tabling
Well,
at the Comic Con.
you
The
know,
cops will go, "Oh yeah, okay, yo, okay, you can stay. You're an artist."
no, I hear you. I hear you.
Right. Anyways,
Yeah, no, with me,
um,
since it's a 2 day show, I come in really early in the morning, right? It's like to set up, so that way I'm only spending one night for my room.
right. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that. I just
It's
like
not
to
that
scope
far.
out, right? Is there parking for us there or what?
There's parking. Yeah, there's parking. But the funny thing is, I remember the first year I went there. The parking, like I parked in the garage, and it was free. Like the whole day, I'm like, oh, cool. But then the following year, they were charging.
Right. Okay.
So there is parking. So just to answer your
Right.
question again directly, it's like, or
Okay.
there is parking, but yeah, it's paid parking. You can park in the building, or you can park across the street.
Right. Yeah. Okay. No show this weekend, I'm assuming.
Again, no shows until like the end of the month, which is going to be Cornwall.
Okay, the Cornwall stuff.
So I want to
Um,
prepare for the Cornwall because it's definitely one of my big shows. So I do want to pump out some friends for that show.
right. I will probably go do this card show this Sunday.
Right.
I'm not tabling or anything. I'm just there going in and talking to PSA, the grading company, I think, and see if they have cases where, do they grade booklets? Those booklets, the cards that are in one, like this, wide,
Right. Right.
like that. I'm gonna see if they have case like that. Where can I get them and all that stuff? Then I'm gonna ask them questions. I'm gonna bring my own cards that I've done and see what is the cost of having them graded. How are they going to be graded? Um, or because these aren't release items, those are the questions I'm going to ask them. That's going to be my Sunday for 3 or 4 hours, and I'm kind of glad because
Right.
it's just around the corner. It's on um, is it Western Road? And you know where the Langstaff around that area?
No, I'm not. Sorry.
Oh, okay. There's where the Costco is on
So where?
Woodbridge, where the Flying Saucer
Oh
Cinema.
yes, 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 yes.
North of that, right there. Langstaff is the street north of that, right?
Okay.
On I think there's a Toronto card show. They usually have these comic book shows. Uh, you heard about it, right? The Toronto the TSB or something show or something like
Yeah.
that. It's just all comic books. There's no
Celebrities.
yeah, there's no celebrities and stuff. If anybody's in the Toronto area, there's this shows that happens every once a month. I think it's all comic book related. So if you are hunting um for books, rare stuff, there's no guest artist, there's nothing like that. It's all comic books. You come in, it's all comic book vendors, and there's long boxes after long boxes after long boxes. If you like hunting, this is the best show for you guys. There's rare items, there's back issues, there's all sorts of graded
Right.
items.
Is that the one you're going to this Sunday? You said.
This Sunday, it's called the. It's the same thing. It's the Toronto Card Show. I think that's what it's called. Uh, it's in Vaughan area here, right?
Yeah.
And it's just cards. It's just like trading cards, hockey cards, collectible cards, and stuff. I want to go in and see if I can find some of the cards that I worked on for Upper Deck, just for myself. I don't want the whole box. I don't want to. I just want a pack I can crack open and go, oh, these look cool, right? Like hold them in my hands.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? Um, that's all. I just want, I want some of those to look at, like how they look as a design wise. That's really what that stuff is. Yeah, that's pretty much it for my Sunday. But yeah, I mean it's almost 1, so we're gonna call it quits right now. So
Yeah, I
there you
got
go.
to go to work tomorrow. Too.
So just thank you, Christine, for moderating for us today. Thank you, everybody who's in the chat. Thank you, Naman. Thank you, Rad guys. Thank you, uh, Art Venom. Sorry. Uh, thank you, everybody that showed up today. Bleaker, Niobe, those guys. Our victim, there you go. Sorry, K-pop. Everybody, even the people that I miss. Thanks for jumping in. Yeah, we're just talking comic shop and drawing. If you guys want to join us next week, we'll join next week. I don't know if Naman's going to be available, or maybe, hopefully, he's getting a lot better than Oliver, and I'll try to get some other guests. Maybe
Yeah.
our victim will show up too. I'll introduce you to her. She's really good at creating kind of like chibi art kind of thing, anime style and stuff. So yeah, um, and thanks Arnold for showing up every Wednesday kind of thing too. So
Well,
right.
thanks always for having me.
Yeah. If you guys want to hit Arnold a follow, if you're looking for commission and stuff, just DM on I know his commission is closed right now, but just DM him on Instagram there. It's in the show note. Oliver's not here, but he's also busy. If you guys are interested in that kind of stuff, that's great too. Rad, I forgot to get his social media, but I'll update it and I'll put and you can actually find him. I think on Comic Book Church, which is on Sunday with Bleeker. Yeah, you'll find. Thanks, Christine, for doing a lot of the posts and stuff like that. Goblin Grim, Mastros, and all the other stuff too. So, have a great night, guys. See you next week. Right. So there we go. Okay, so I'm just gonna end the stream. End the stream. End the stream. Is it end?